Okay. We'll do it live, as they say. I'm just going to be training a little bit on my own. I'll get to some nunchucks, but first we got to do our meat and potatoes before we get into dessert. Okay. I'm just going to do some very basics to warm up. This is my own personal training, so I address my own needs. This isn't, structured or a class or anything. Just having fun. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. More? Deeper? Okay. Okay, whatever you say. Oh. First step to kicking really high is freedom in the hips. If you can't get your knees up here, you can't kick up here. Oh, yeah. Nice and easy. Hip flexors, right here. So theoretically, this is my maximum kicking height. Theoretically. So you're controlling the leg above 90 degrees, right? Here, we're heavy in the hip flexors, very muscular. Once you pass this, you get involved with the psoas, which is a very tiny muscle along your back, wraps underneath here. That's how martial artists, ballerinas, get their legs so high. They use the little muscles, the secret muscles. Oh. Now, I can't kick as high on this side. It's my strong, stable side. But because of the scoliosis, my pelvis also tips this way. So my leg is artificially getting higher on this side, but not because I have the control to do it the same. Oh, yeah. Okay. Nice and easy. Oh, someone stopped by. Are you actually a black belt? Not only am I a black belt, I got more than one. So I've got a black belt in several styles of karate, Shito-ryu, Shotokan, Goju-ryu, and technically Isshin-ryu. Most of those are very old school styles. Hello, Manuel. You look like a Geometry Dash YouTuber. Honestly, that's so much better than what I usually get, which is you look like a budget Andrew Tate, which is, pretty insulting, honestly. All right, we're going to skip straight to the nunchucks. Now, you used to be on the Benny Hill show. Oh, man. Stop the chit-chat. Okay? You want the wood ones? You want the foam ones? You want the aluminum graphite ones with the ball bearings in the end? Woods. Yeah? You like the woods? Okay, so I've learned nunchucks two different ways. I want the wood one. Oh, Joker's TV. I get that one a lot. I know the dude, obviously. He's also going bald, weak chin. I totally get it. I get that a lot. I don't really watch the show because I feel like they push the boundaries a little too much. Something like, kiss that old woman. And it's like, I don't know. Enough with the chit-chat. Normally, I don't take orders from senpais or below, but I did promise nunchucks. Okay, I learned this from the Green Power Ranger, the guy that did the show. Okay, so he does the fancy version of nunchucks, which looks something like this. Right? Flashy, lots of crazy stuff, like behind the back, reversals or flips, stuff like that. Okay, here's the thing. That shit doesn't work. I'll show you. Okay, so since none of you have volunteered, I'm gonna have to use Bob. So, let's try. Oh, we're so scared. Yeah? Woo! Okay. All right, I'm going to try this horse shit. Ah, shit. Ah, shit. Do you see? Do you see how I'm hurting myself? Yeah. This is the first big hurdle for people that learn nunchucks because you learn really quickly what's right and what's not. Okay? So, look, I get it. We all want to do the crazy stuff, right? It's dope. It's like the reason I started doing this. It just doesn't work. Okay, I'll show you the bad version. Okay, a lot less impact than I can just slap him with. Or you tell me if this version is better. Do you understand? Anyone tell you you look like the bald dude on Impractical Jokers? It's been maybe 90 seconds since someone told me that, but, I hope people think he's hot or interesting or something, right? I mean, hopefully at least I have like better abs than him. I gotta have something on him because he's got a TV show. The second. Or Family Guy. Myrrh. I don't know what that means. Okay, so again, I love using nunchucks, right? In college, my buddies would take bottle caps and flick them at me, and I would try and deflect them. It was a really fun game. Pretty dangerous. I have a very vivid memory of a bottle cap right in front of my eyeball. So, still not effective when you're really trying to do it right. Adam Sandler. Look, man, you get me a starring role with Jessica Alba or something like that. I'll put the sweatpants on, man. Let's do it. Cool. I do have other weapons if you want to look at them. But here's what I'll point out about the graphite aluminum. Can I get a shout out? Brantley Brewer. Os. Onegaishimasu. Welcome. Do a spinning heel kick. I do have a spinal cord injury I'm working on, but let's see if I still got it. I busted my back deadlifting 600 pounds. Okay. So spinning back hook. Ooh, a little cramp. Or you do the obviously not effective, but do a spinning heel kick. Oh, I guess I did a hook kick. You know what? You're right. Spinning heel would be directly back that way. You should be a pro. Well, I'm not sponsored, obviously. I have won a number of competitions. When I was going for internationals is when my back really got bad. I went numb on the left side of my body. So like I can't feel this, but I can feel this. So super scary, and it wasn't worth risking the trip to internationals, probably injuring myself because I tend to go like way too hard. You're the best I've seen. That's super flattering. Thank you. This is on it. Don't hurt your back. God bless. Thank you. And you're so right. And I have a hard, I've been the perfection, like I've been the pro, right? I was a professional dancer. I taught karate for years, right? At like, I was, the other half of the dojo. So I've been like a pro, but not like kata competition pro. Like I have some, this is my grand champion for, I did open hand kata, weapons kata. I won both, and then I had to win again with the bow staff. You are cool. Thank you. I like to think so, but if you say you're cool, you're not cool. You know what I mean? I have a lot of cool things I've done. I've seen a lot of things. I traveled to India, Brazil, Europe for the dance company. I've traveled a little bit for martial arts. I've trained in kickboxing, Krav Maga. I've done Muay Thai. I've done some jiu-jitsu, capoeira. Okay, dance fighting. Yeah, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is dope. Jiu-jitsu is good for like old man strength. You just want to hold on to somebody and, but striking cooler, more dynamic. You burn way more calories. I think when I was doing Krav Maga classes, I was burning like 900 calories an hour. What do I work on? A lot of it for me to nowadays is working with my back. I'm trying to get my kicks back, right? Like I can kick well over my own head. The chance of hurting myself is a lot higher though. So I'm trying to work on slowly, right? Everyone can sort of like bang their leg up, but I'm trying to do it with control, right? Like my ballerina days. Okay, that's the idea. So I work on that, hand speed, and also like the big thing I work on is body mechanics, right? So instead of like the way I used to do it when I was 18 years old and invincible and full of testosterone, okay? But now I try and get into like the body mechanics of it, right? Using the dance training to sort of make my karate have less effort, less chance of injury. So I used to do a lot of like head movement and crazy footwork, but after a while, it's like all of these angles on the back, there's a ton of sheer force. So I broke my leg doing a spinning kick on a big punching bag. Damn, that's crazy. I've only known people to break stuff when they use like those punch measurers. They're super hard, and you put it against a wall, and it's like punching a brick. And yeah, people broke arms doing it. But a bag, that's crazy. So you probably can kick pretty hard. That's pretty sweet. Have you recovered from the broken leg? Are you back to training? The sand came. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's the move. That's the Captain America Rocky shit, Bam! Hey, look, I tore a tendon in one of my knuckles breaking a board. I didn't react until after class, so I've been there, man. Do you think karate is realistic in real fights, though? Because most fights turn to grappling. Yes. Now, a lot of people get into the style wars, right? Like, oh, Taekwondo is better than this. This is better than this. At the end of the day, it's just different methodologies of throwing your bones at someone else. Right? So like the principles are the same. A boxer throws a jab. I don't do kumite like this, like the sports people do. That's a different style. I think it's stupid. I fight in sort of a taller stance, right? Because I'm not doing these crazy kicks, right? I want to be up here, use my kickboxing sort of Dutch style training, and it's way more effective, honestly. But karate does have grappling. They just don't show it to you. And this is a huge problem in most karate dojos. They say, oh, your kata, goes like this. And what that means is someone grabs you and you break it. And that's it. You don't try it. You don't like have someone grab and you try and, it's not pressure tested. They just say, well, the handbook says it's for a wrist lock. Okay, go away. It's hardly ever trained. A lot of modern karate dojos, maybe more American, show that. But it's in the kata, right? There's this kata seisan. It's one of my favorites. Here. So what that is I'm blocking something coming in front of my face, sweeping down and striking, right? Here. This is an outside block. This move, kakiuke, hooking block. You block, grab. So I'm blocking, I grab this, and then hit him again. So that grappling is everywhere in the kata. Most times when you see a little like hand thing, there is grappling involved. They just don't advertise it. It doesn't sell to kids' classes, right? Like, it's way easier to run a class of 50 kids and go, okay, everyone go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're done. Instead of having, like pressure testing it. It takes forever, and it's hard to do a full class with Kihon Kata Kumite, the basics, and have the parents be happy, right? They want to see their kids doing little activities and be done. It's just a depth that isn't touched on. Hard to grab when you get knocked out. Extremely true. I was so good that took me out of it, but I still try to do it and have fun. Have you ever kicked your wall in training? Yes. I've done this on purpose and on accident. Nowadays, my control's really good, right? Like, okay, I say that and then watch me fuck this up. I can throw something pretty close and pull back. Let's see. Bob's right here. I can touch him. So, I will kick the wall to practice getting these toes up, right? If I kick you like this, I'm going to smash my toes. In fact, maybe less than half of the senseis that I've trained under have broken toes, and they walk in a really fucked up way. Like, they can't do footwork anymore because they've snapped their toes. So if you kick a wall, right, not with force, but you just kind of touch it, you can really work on pulling the toes back and presenting the ball of your foot this way. This way. My foot went so far. Good trial and error test, kind of like BJJ. Oh, totally. And here's the thing is like, when I did my karate training in chunks, right? So I did like several years, took a bunch of time off. Between those chunks, I trained in Dutch kickboxing, Muay Thai, a bunch of these other striking arts. When I came back to karate, the day I came back, I was a better fighter than the day I left that dojo. Because everyone knew what to do when presented with this. Right? Everyone knows what to do because that's what everyone does. But if you come in here and you're, doing things that don't look, competition perfect, right? They don't know what to do. In my black belt test, I had to do a hyakunin, which is 100 man, which means that I fight 100 people in a row. And I took a break like 12 or 13 minutes in, but I mean, My dad's hands are weapons. But yeah, you need to test this stuff because you can talk theory all you want, and everyone has theory, right? Oh, actually, the secret technique is blah, 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 and then this, except after step one, they got elbowed in the head, and now their plan's all messed up, and it's like, you didn't attack me the right way, man. If someone is super, like, insistent that, like, my stuff works, and I don't have to show you, you just have to believe me because my belt is darker than yours, that's a fucking McDojo. Run. Okay? The truth stands up to questions. If someone doesn't, if it's true, you should have no problem being like, oh yeah, well, we do sports style, so, you know. So true. Dude, I'm so sick of it. I've been to Kyokushin gyms. Okay? I had Kyokushin people at my black belt test. Well, one of the other ones. And right? And like, it's all about the illusion, right? I have gold on my belts. I don't wear the gold ones. You know what I mean? It's not about that to me. And like, if I can't prove something, I'm not going to try and convince you of it. Anyway, people want money more than they want you to have the truth. I'm different. That is why I did not make any money teaching karate. Because for some stupid reason, I like give a shit, you know, about your transformation or whatever. I'm a black belt. In what? You can get knocked out by someone with no training if they hit you. Yeah. Again, all of fighting, all of it, is taking your bones, hurling them at another person's bones, and hoping that they got hurt more than you. That's really it. The rest is just human bullshit of like, oh no, you have to do hikite up here because if you don't do it that way, that means I didn't come up with anything original and I'm stupid. It's stupid ego human shit. I will give you every single one of my secrets up front. Because I don't want to gate you behind, you know, I'm not ready for you to do. You're ready or not. A lot of places it's like, we don't teach, like in Krav Maga, they were like, we don't do sidekick until like yellow belt, which is like a year in. And I'm like, why? They're like, it's too advanced. No, it's not. It's really not. We're doing like roundhouse kicks and you're telling me that a sideways stomp is like too complicated? No. It's bullshit gating to like keep you, come on, a little bit more money for me, come on. That's what it is. It's horse shit. And for some reason, the dojos that do it right tend to be very small. They don't make a lot of money. They're not, you know. And I've been at competition dojos and I've been at old school dojos. There's a point where you make a choice of like, do I want to cater to the masses, which is 8 to 12-year-olds, or, you know, advanced practitioners that actually want to practice combat? I didn't learn that till 6 months in. Have you ever won a street fight with your training? I started taking karate when I was in school because I was bullied. This wasn't the street, right? But this kid who had picked on me for a while, I'd been training for like 6 months. He grabbed me. He's like, you're going in the lockers. I was like, no, I'm not. And this is your warning, sir. I didn't say sir. I was like, oh shit, it's happening, right? This is the time. And he's like, you're going in the lockers. I was like, okay, I warned you. Bam, bam. And I was like, yeah! Full stance, right? And I was like, fuck yeah. And I was ready to go. I was like, I'm ready to die on the battlefield. And he took off. He sprinted away. I didn't see him because he went to like the side school where if you commit a bunch of crimes, they put you in like the, you know, the delinquents part. He was there for a couple of years. I see him in high school. I'm like, dude, it's been forever. How you been? He turns around and sprints the other way years later. So that wasn't a street fight. But honestly, learning to fight has proven to me over and over and over again, you don't want to fight. The ones you usually win, you don't start. Exactly. Yes. Rest in peace, FBG. Awesome name. Yeah, you can learn a lot of this on YouTube. We don't sue. Sounds peaceful. His name is Grayson. Grayson, here's a shout out. You know what else I'm going to do for you, Grayson? I'm going to pull out a move I haven't done in like 8 months. Question mark kick. Okay, let's see if I still got it. Question mark kick is where you fake a front kick around like a question mark. Okay, so you got to give him the front kick first. Let him feel it. Give it to him a second time. So he's like, okay, every time this asshole picks up his left leg, he does the front kick. You go here. He drops his hand to block. And then, bam. Okay, you got to swivel the hips. It's very quick. I like to delay. A lot of people will switch really fast, but you might as well just throw a regular roundhouse kick at that point. So I really delay where I go, huh, bam. What's up? We got other shout outs from the chat for Grayson. Look at chat. You got a nice chat. You fast as fuck with the kick. Thank you. Okay, listen. I'm going to say this, and I know everyone says this, but this isn't a speed day for me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, God damn it. I knew this was going to happen, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay. Let's see where my speed's at today. I'm a little sore. Okay. This is day 3 or 4 in my split. Faster than me. Everything's relative. Honestly, okay, let me tell this quick story. At the last dojo I was at, it's a competition dojo. I was almost a black belt. So I was like training for it. I was a senpai. I was like leading classes, all that stuff. These 2 dudes come in from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They're 6'6" freak athletes, like 19, 20 years old, right? One of them has a yellow belt and the other has an orange belt. Okay. Now I tell the story in one of my other videos, but basically these freaks come in and they're just, they don't even pretend. They're just like, whatever. They wipe the floor with everybody except for my sensei. I was like, okay, all right, new guys, whatever. Swept me immediately. I went horizontal and hit the ground. And with my bad back, I had to like stop. These people had yellow and orange belts. They had trained for 4 years only doing kumite. Only. So they kicked all of our asses and they didn't know shit about kata. It all depends on how you train. So can karate work? Yeah. If you train it right. You can train boxing really terribly and be awful, right? You're training boxing, but because it has the boxing label, it doesn't automatically make it. It's fun to rank them. I totally get it. Style wars are dope. It's just not like really real. I think you really can fight. I mean, I can, but that's not like, it's wild. So what fighting has taught me, years of bad training catches up. Yeah, so that's the problem with training just off YouTube. You can develop very bad habits that feel good, right? And like, especially if you don't record yourself and look back. Even I do this, and I'm like, oh, I'm like feeling myself, like, and I'm like, that's so badass. And I look at it, I'm like, oh, it felt badass, but it wasn't one-to-one what it looked like. You know what I mean? So you need someone to make sure you're not doing things incorrectly, because if you do something wrong for a long period of time, it doesn't take the exact amount of work to go back. It takes more than double. You have to undo all of the bad habits and then build the good habits while fighting off the bad habits. It's like 2.5, 3 times more work. So if, like, let's say you were like, well, I can't train at a dojo for like 3 months, so I'm going to start practicing now. It might take you more than 3 months to undo that damage. You'd be better off just sort of like getting your fitness pretty good, getting your cardio up, and just doing it right from the beginning. It's so much faster. It's so much faster. And that's what I want for anyone that follows me or watches me, my videos. I want all of you to skip that like undoing, redoing. I want to give you all the answers because there's a right way to do it. And since none of us are state-sponsored athletes, right? We need every advantage we can get. They're doing it the optimized way. I'm not saying you need to measure every gram of your food, but if you have the opportunity, learn with a person for a while. Once you can get a good sense of like where your body is in space, right? And you get the technique, then the advanced stuff you can kind of do on your own. I would encourage you go to multiple people, right? No one person has all the answers. Not me. I'm a white belt in BJJ. So I learned like a couple submissions, some escapes, but I don't want to be on the ground, right? Stupid question. Well, he bought his bike. I paid $100 for a personal trainer and he was ass. He bought his black belt from Temu. I would train you for much less and I would do it the right way. I was also a bodybuilder and a power lifter. And I've done gymnastics work. So I could teach you basically anything other than tap dance. Yeah, never a dumb question. There are some, well, you deserve more views. Thank you. I have like thought about making sort of useless content of like, dressing up and like, like doing double nunchucks that are glow in the dark or something. But I'm just like, for whatever stupid reason, I'm like compelled to teach. I've taught dance. I taught salsa for a bunch of years. I actually competed in a rumba competition. Please don't AM learning. I'm not sure what that means, Beautiful Horizon. But thank you. I mean, I'm hoping that the views come eventually, but in my own life, like even in teaching karate, I'm like, please, I want to give you this secret. I'll teach you the tornado kick right now. You just gotta trust me. And I'm like begging people to listen to me, and they just won't. And it's like, you paid to be here. I'm literally the expert. I want to give you. So I very much want to give information, which not everyone wants, but I like watching people transform. I was a nerd. I had asthma. I couldn't run. I couldn't do a push-up. I couldn't do anything. I got bullied. Karate taught me that with hard work, you can transform yourself. I turned into like someone that was heavily bullied, emotionally a wreck at home, to confident. I felt good. And when people found out that I could fight, they thought I was cool. And that gave me a lot of points. And so like, it was so huge. It changed my entire life. Dance changed my entire life. The way I learned to feel my body from the inside is more valuable than anything that I could have done. So I want to give that to people because it's crazy how so close any of you are to becoming great. You're actually pretty freaking close. And I love showing people a little magic trick of like, oh, you're overweight? You think you can't lose weight? I bet you could. You feel good, don't you? That's awesome. I want everyone at their best, even my enemies. Okay? I would love to cheat and, pull a gun or whatever, but I honestly want anyone that fights me, if we're going to do it, I want them at their best. I want me at my best. Because let's really test this shit. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it for real. So I want to transform people, but a lot of people aren't ready to be transformed. A lot of people are you know, they get nervous. They like they think about goals way too. Like, it's like, oh, if I want to do karate, I'm gonna have to be a black belt and break boards and get broken nose. And it's like, dude, you're doing like 5 years of mental homework now. Like you only have 24 hours in a day, so like you can handle that, you know. So I want, you can fight so good fighting, basically dancing. And that's the thing. Okay, I won't stop doing what I'm doing. Thank you, beautiful Horizon. You're beautiful. That's the thing. I learned it's not that I'm really good at karate and dance and bodybuilding and powerlifting and right? It's that I got good using the controller. This controller is used to play all of the games. I'm just really good at using the starter equipment. And you don't get any other starter equipment. You get this loadout. That's it. So you better get good with it. And if you do, you learn that punching is, extension of the arm, at length. And these principles still matter. I reach in a punch for maximum alignment. I reach with my port-a-bras in a ballet move for maximum sort of visual sweep, right? It's all the same thing. And I just got good at this, and I'm trying to tell people, like, you can literally do, well, not whatever you want, but like you can do most things. People told me I couldn't be a bodybuilder, and then I got up to 220 pounds, and then I scared people. In training, you want to have a balanced stomach and balance your back muscles. That's a huge point, and I'm going to make a video about this pretty soon, because the number of injuries in the martial arts is crazy, because all we do is this: forward, forward, push, 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 push. There's no pulling. So no wonder everyone ends up like these weird gorillas that have like nerve impingement issues. So yeah, you need to do back exercises. You need to work the back of the leg. Wow, that was loud. Like, all of this stuff is quads, hips, no hamstrings. Almost everybody in karate knows somebody with a knee injury, or they have one. Okay? My sensei tore his MCL and ACL. It's because you overwork one side. You need balance, right? It's like, if I had one enormous arm and one like skinny one, it's like, you're better off having the two balanced arms. Imagine getting beat up from someone doing ballet at the same time. Deadpool. You need to think about how much energy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's something that dancing gave me, is like, because I was the karate, I was the bodybuilder, I was the, I'll just force it with muscle, which is why my back is all fucked up and I have bone spurs on like every single vertebrae. Okay. So dancing taught me to move with less effort, right? Because I don't need I don't need my maximum bench press power, bam, every single time. We just talked about how 12 and 15-year-olds can knock people out. A lot of times you see the knockouts come from like a really like flash hook. Bam! Whoop! Just turns the head, lights out. It doesn't take that much. And I learned the lesson the hard way by beating the shit out of my body. So if I had taken it easy from the beginning, I'd be doing split kicks and double spin stuff, and but that's why I'm here, so I can tell you not to do that, so that you, when you're my age, can beat the shit out of me. How many did you whoop their ass before they got you? The point of the hyakunin is not about beating anybody, because I don't care who you are. If you fought 100 dudes and you're like fine, and you're like, I could go for a jog, then those 100 people sucked, right? You start off the hyakunin and like, well, I'm saying I'm talking about my experience, because this is my black belt test. So I was nervous, right? Even though I've won gold in like every single thing I've done, I still get nervous, right? grand champion. Oh, I win every single tournament I go to, but I still get super nervous for some stupid reason. So I'm nervous. And so when you're nervous, you kind of like, you tense more, you don't breathe as well. So you go hard, right? And I'm like, I want to show off because I've been holding back against everybody, right? I was stronger than Sensei. He could kick my ass, of course, but physically I could overpower anybody. So, and I was like, if I have to fight 100 of you motherfuckers, then I'm pulling out the good shit. And I did. And at first, I was getting graded down, right? Because I knew I had to conserve energy. I had to last. It wasn't about beating everyone. It was about continuing to fight even when, you've been chewed up. So a lot of my fighting is sort of a modified Philly half. I keep one hand in front here, and then I keep another hand really low. This, like a Philly shell, blocks here. In karate, they kick to the back all the time. But if you poke that elbow out a little bit, they will never hit your back. They elbow you, they kick you in the elbow. So I'm just sitting here and they're like, bam, bam. It looks like it scores, but it's not. They're like almost breaking their toes. And so I'm just sitting here, right? That is not karate. Karate is you sweep, do the takedown, and then you finish. Oh, yeah. But they didn't do any damage. So I just took it. So I did things differently than I think they wanted me to last longer. But I probably got like 10 or 12 minutes in before I was like dropping my hands and, like, and then I'd like kind of like do some like, because they're karateka. They're not going to like kick me in the leg or anything. So I could afford to like hang out here and just be like, oh my God. A lot of my techniques that worked were just because everyone's excited, right? They're fresh. So they come in. Ah! I did this like 10 times. So they come in, right? They're running at me. And I just did a really quick front kick, like a stiff arm to the hip bone. And whoop, and it like whoop, folded people. And it was like kind of like I felt bad because I'd be like, boom. And it would be like really quick and direct. And this person would just like, bam, hit the ground and then like get up awkward. And I'm sitting there like, right. And I'm like standing over and I have this kind of like, so I definitely used my like physical presence and they're like, okay, really fight him, guys. Come on. Cause they'd be like, I'd put someone down. Right. And then the next person would be like, and then towards the end, I was beyond fatigued, but for the last like 10 rounds, I just went full bore. I just was like max damage, like bam, 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 like shoving people, I had a blast. It wasn't perfect karate technique though. I would have been nervous after 3 passes. That's the other thing we did is like multiple attackers. So you have 2, sometimes 3 people come at you at once. And spoiler alert, nobody can handle 3 people. Nobody. 2, possibly, if you do it tactically and you're also attempting to flee at the same time, right? But that was super fun where, again, like the Hyakunin, it wasn't about you winning. That's not the point. The point is to see what you will do with an impossible task, right? And the karate way is you continue to push forward, right? So these people are just bam, bam, bam. You're trying to block both sides. It feels like an anime, but not because you're like executing it perfectly. It's because it's like ridiculous. Crazy. Another thing that's way more like, it's so unlikely that one random dude is gonna like come up to you and like mug you. He's probably gonna have friends, or it's probably gonna be like 3 or 4 like shitty, like sticky, like twiggy teenagers. No offense to the skinny people, I was one of them, but there's probably multiple of them. So you know, the lesson is a fight is like you don't escape a fight without getting hit. You know what I mean? Wants to start spraying. I broke my TV after a body slam on my brother in karate. That's awesome. Not for your brother, but great story. My sister used to try and fight me. She never did martial arts or anything, but she would do moves where she would essentially like grab onto me, not know what to do, kick me in the nuts, right? Classic move. And then she'd like headbutt me and then hurt herself. And I go, ah, God. And so because I'm a karate guy, you know, no one believes that she just headbutted me. So I've been there with the siblings. I have not broken any appliances with said sibling, though, yet. I mean, we'll see, you know. Game's not over. Oh, man. You guys want to see other weapons? Nunchucks? We can shoot the shit about breaking bones and breaking our family, too, you know? Okay. Another upcoming video on which weapon I believe to be the best. Woo! It's not this one, spoilers, but this is the fanciest one. House tour. Maybe when I've YouTube proofed the entire house, we'll do that. Trust me, this is like, actually, this room's the best. It's the gym. Okay, oh, fuck it. You know, hold on, you got a sword. I have 2 Scottish swords in storage. I don't use them for fighting. I'm not trained with like a claymore or anything. So I have gymnastics rings, pull up, tower. I've got a cable pulley set up, bunch of plates down here. I have a makiwara, which is it's hard to, I have a thing over it. It's a wooden board with slits in it so that it like flexes a little for knuckle conditioning. I usually do this at the end, but since we're talking about it, I'll do a couple reps now. See, and this is another place where I try and like, it sounds loud, maybe, I don't know what the mic's picking up, but I'm not trying to like blast this thing. I'm trying to like kind of fall into it, right? It's like the 1-inch punch kind of move. You like curl everything, throw it forward. So it's really easy. Like this is like no tension. I'm basically just kind of tossing this and just tightening the fist at the very end. See, if I get really loose like that, I'll go even up. And you can do other, you know, I'll do like open hand techniques, shuto, you know, hammer. Pretty cool. Okay, what else we got? We got this. You have any katana fans? I don't. That's a good idea, though, because those are legal. Nobody fights good with a sword. That's true. And I mean, you can't really carry a sword, so it's tough. Bob, please. The Sai are cool, but like, they're not really my favorite. A lot of people don't understand that these aren't sharp. This is like, it's like an octagon. I don't know if you can see. You really like me? Well, I really like you too, beautiful Horizon. Ninja Turtles. Yes. These are called the Sai. So some of the moves, I only know one real Sai kata. And it's like rising block. So you hook a lot of stuff with the cross guard here. hook everything, and I'm like pressing into my forearm. So I'm like like that really hard. Here, you punch with this end, strike with this end, stab with it, block with it, right? Blocking with the sai hurts like a motherfucker because this is metal. And then it's very small. So when someone hits you, that force is like very finely applied to your forearm bones. I know Josh Allen, he's my dad's friend. I don't recognize that name. So it's like, boom, cat stance, here, another one. And you'll notice, you see my belt moving a lot. That's because I'm doing it right. You got to get the hips involved. Here, punch, punch. There's this section at the end that's like, okay, make sure I don't smash the overhead light. Over the head, smash down, punch, around the head, strike the ear, block, you turn, and then you finish the kata like that. Actually, I think you do like a hook and then like a ashibarai foot sweep sort of deal. Here. Ta-da. The best part is flipping them, honestly. Going from this, you know, you just feel cool doing this. The adrenaline makes you like steel until the next day. Yeah, blocking hurts. I have felt divots in my forearm bones from all of the blocking that I've done. I would love to see what my skeleton looks like when they dig my ass up in 1,000 years. You know, because I'm so important. Okay. Tonfa. These, again, spoilers, the best weapon. How are you spinning it from block to striking? You do it fast. I'll show you. It is super awkward, and it takes a lot of practice. So the way you hold it in the extended position is, right, obviously, fingers. My thumb is placed on the leather cross point here, so I have some like pressure control here, so it's not just in my wrist. Okay, from there, I'm going to hook with this finger, flip, catch it in my thumb, and then I wrap over. So to go the other way, I keep it in the thumb, all the fingers over the top, and then like that. See, but you don't see this hand move when I'm in the middle of, right? There's a lot happening. So yeah, like this. And I keep a finger here to help like direct, right? Again, it's like that downward pressure here that reinforces against, and I'm also pressing. It's really messed up. These are a little less deadly, but I like them more because like this blocking surface compared to this, check this out. That's how much surface area it blocks. So you better hope you got the alignment exactly right, you know, that way. Here, it's pretty big. It covers me pretty thoroughly. Like I'm not gonna hit this and my arm like I would here. Oh my God. Like I can still make contact with both surfaces here. So I like the tonfa. Super practical. The police use, well, they use, you know, police batons, but it's the same sort of deal, right? So again, same principle. I'm pressing this to my forearm to make it really tight. Because when you punch stuff, Bob, get back here. When you punch stuff and it's loose, like the energy completely bleeds out. So you got to like press into it and hold it really tight to yourself to like deliver the force. Bob, God damn it. Okay, the cool thing about the tonfa is that you've got multiple surfaces, right? So not only do I not have to like break my strongest hand posture because I don't have anything up here. This plugs in directly to everything else. Well, mostly an outside block would suck, but there are blocks like this. So there's that, right? Punchy ends, which are a good distance away. Then you've got well, this is like the regular grip, which you can smash people with, right? Gives you way more range. And, you know, here, I can really like reach, I can like catch stuff. The other thing you can do is you can use these like the kama, which are the sickle weapons, and hook. So I can catch weapons, arms, spin them around, right? You catch the elbow, maybe you anchor that, open them up for a shot here. People in Chicago don't play. Yeah. Or they're playing to win, right? So I can't do too many moves with this. I mean, a lot of the nunchuck moves, they transfer over. And then if I'm doing this way, there's a way where I can switch sides and do the inverse, something like that. There are like elbow casts, which I'm not really good at. My favorite, and I hope I don't kick the fucking camera, is, oops. You do a front kick and it fire. I have to like actually go for it. That's the problem. You like fire it forwards. And if you kick exactly where you're trying to hit, it does work. It's pretty cool. It takes a lot of practice though. And there it is. I don't have huge ceilings. So, okay, let's see what we got. Whoop. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Bob, I swear to God, if you don't telepathically guess my needs for you, all right, you're going to get it even worse. Okay. I speak abusively to Bob because he's been giving me the silent treatment for a number of years now. Okay. All right, let's see if I can do this. All right. Oops. Whoa, almost hit the light. Would have made for a good live. This is my first live, by the way. Whoop. Yep. That was his left eye. Oh, shit. Is that a good dodge? I didn't see it. See, it felt cool, but probably wasn't. Oh, shit. Yeah, so. Anyway. Bam. This has the same problem as the nunchucks in that the energy returns unless you, like, drive through. But then it's, you know, every human's instinct is to grab, right? Every fight between two girls with long hair, grab, right? People just grab on like koalas. So I don't know if you want to give somebody a rope that is then connected to you, right? If you're outnumbered, I understand. Yeah, I mean, I technically can't advocate for people brawling in the streets. But you know, there's a common trope that's talked about where it's like two dudes get into an argument and then they beat each other up and then they're like good friends after. You know, sometimes people just need to get that animal bullshit out of the way and then realize that, you know, this isn't really a huge deal. We should protect them because that's going to be me. The actual katas for nunchucks are actually kind of boring and simple. Like, this is all the shit that my Power Ranger sensei used to do. I have a video on that if you're interested. But the actual kata is like here, and you like block here, here, here. And you turn around, you do that to the back. You know, there's this sequence that's like, something like that, and then you turn around, you do that. There's this thing at the end where you go over the head, don't hit the light, and then you That was extra. Then you strike, pull them down. You do this jump. It's like it looks kind of corny, because it's like this tiny thing, and you do this like, ooh, over your head. I love your videos. I've watched every one of them. Thank you. That's crazy. I've been seeing some people that go through I'll see it's like I got a view on like this one and this one and this one, and those are the people I love. And listen, Randy, I'm gonna remember the OGs, okay? Nunchucks look like they hurt when you twirl them fast. They can't. I am abusing physics a little bit. A lot of this, I'm not strike. Even that didn't really hurt. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm just like super tough. So it's like, it's like no big deal. But a lot of times I'm rolling kind of, right? Strike here where it's not thudding into me. It kind of hits here and it continues. So like, that's how I can around here. You can do behind the neck, but I hit myself in the dome too many times, so I don't really do that one. Oh, they hurt. And that's how you learn fast. Even if like nunchucks is something you could learn just from YouTube, especially if you're only interested in like the flashy stuff. This isn't flashy, but I was just like, you're supposed to do, horse stance, and I just didn't feel it. But yeah, you learn fast, and you hit yourself in my experience 3 places. One is obvious here, okay, especially when Jason David Frank, the Green Power Ranger, demands that you do this. And again, I'm rolling along the bottom of my thigh here, so I'm not. Oh. Roll. It's all about rolling. Thank you. Rest in peace. FBG deck. Bruce Lee inspired a lot of injuries at the hospital. Bruce Lee gave himself injuries. I don't know how familiar you are, but he had the back injury, and that's because he did good mornings, which is where you put a barbell here like you're doing squats and you bend over, which is like maximum shearing force leverage against the spine. If you do them right, it can be okay, but Bruce Lee pushed himself like me, and he broke his fucking back like me, had to take enormous time off. So I mean, I've had the Bruce Lee experience for sure. I mean, I took like a year and a half off, I think, after I left the last dojo, and then I just took like 5-6 months off because my like numbness has gotten worse. So not fun. Kind of an interesting power though, like it's reduced some of my back pain. So, you take the wins where you can get them. Now, I cannot for the life of me do 2 chucks at a time. Where'd the other ones go? I understand in theory how it's supposed. Oh, this is where. No, it's this. Oh, it's a different top. No, it's this one. My Shitoryu sensei, old school guy, he beat the shit out of us. It was awesome. He did a like a kakiyuke, so like a hooking grip here, or maybe it was like Toranoguchi, like tiger. It's the same shit. He grabbed and pulled and tore this just with his fingers. And this is like thick canvas. It's crazy. And he didn't mean to. He was like, oh, we'll get you a new one. I hate fighting, but always getting tested. Like drug tested? Or like people test you. Yeah, where's everyone from? I'm curious. I mean, shit. Sheriff Brantley over here is from the mean-ass streets of Chicago. Richmond, Virginia. Virginia's beautiful. Getting the hips, you know what I mean? Hawaiian, German, Puerto Rican, Chinese, Japanese. What? Damn. Hawaii? That's so cool. Oh, man. That is so cool. I once planned on moving to Hawaii, but fell through. So I like the vibe, you know? I like the life. It's everywhere. The life's in the people, too. Mixed with everything. Yeah, sounds like it. I think I'm mostly Scottish, Welsh, the hairy, pale ones, you know, the bald ones. Ghetto in Arizona. I've heard mixed things about Arizona. I don't know if it's what the cost of living is like there, but hopefully at least, you know, if you got to live there, hopefully it's, you know, you got to do what you got to do. I've lived in plenty of places that were, I mean, subpar is not even the right word. I've lived in like Craigslist houses with 10 other people that I, you know, random ass strangers. I've lived in basements. I've lived in houses, apartments, you know, all of it. Well, I'm black and handsome, beautiful. Damn. First stream. We already got the comments popping off. I'm not very beautiful look-wise, but I'm hoping to improve my heart. God is good and I want to go home. Oh. What are you? Well, here's what I'd say, beautiful. I've never seen you. But often we're our worst critics. And there's a huge, just even mathematically, even if we want to take the emotion out of it, mathematically speaking, there is a huge part of the population that likely thinks that you are some hot shit. So don't count yourself out. You just got to find the right people to appreciate. You know what I'm saying? It's also why we wear the training gi. Let me see if I can get Super Impe back. Oh, elbow pop. I think love it, keep shining, black and handsome. I think you're hot shit and you can fight even better. Well, you don't know. Maybe I can't fight at all. Maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe R.I.P. FBG Duck isn't black. I don't know. You can say things. I do it to the back, which is not very visually interesting. And they never, at these competitions, they never have audiences on like multiple sides. So you always have to look at someone's back. Step back into Gawashinachi. Mama Shiuke, one of my favorite blocks. Dragon's Breath, because this is Goljiryu. Really fun sequence. And then we do that to the back. Sweaty. And then shikodachi, this weird fucking ipponken, which you should never do. Never ever do this, okay? This is how you break your finger. Don't be hard on yourself. God is good. That's right. Keep light shining. That's what we do, right? Here, you do this. Here. Here. And would I do any of these moves in a fight? No, of course not. Are you crazy? Okay, shikodachi. Kakyuki. Then. Aye! Ki there, back fist there. This is the back, which is one of my favorite parts. So this is now the back of the room. If you want to impress the old guys, you do it slow. If you want to impress the modern guys, do it fast. And we do number 5. And then we turn around. Mikazuki Geri, crescent kick here. Aye. And then I'm doing this to the back. And then I do Toronoguchi. Aye, Nukite. To the throat here. Turn around. Still got it. There are some kata I can't remember. Punch your door. Use karate and street fight and kick dude's ass. I mean, it depends on, like, there are dudes that have never taken a lesson that could kick the shit out of 10th degree black belts. I mean, I've fought 5th degree, 6th degree black belts that would have gotten the shit kicked out of them by the, like, 22-year-old software developer at the kickboxing place, because when I fought that kid, he was kicking to kill, and we did leg kicks and kickboxing. So we bam, bam. I had to check these kicks. Bah, da, crazy, but it all depends. Some karate guys, they fight with heavy bags, you know, hip pads, spar openly. Some don't. YouTube street fight videos were a while back then. Man, YouTube is one thing, but the website I remember is World Star. That's where the crazy shit happened. Not no BS nowadays, you see. Yeah, well, in karate at least, in like the 70s and 80s, at competitions, there was no pads, no shin guards, and you just like, you hit them, and like you tried to knock people out, and you hurt people, and it was just wild. And these people are using karate techniques, but a lot of times they were just like, pow, like going for the kill. And then that becomes hard to market, particularly to the most profitable market group, which is families with kids. Are you asking me how old I am, or the handsome black gentleman in the back? Karate is good to get kicked in the balls. Yeah, and that's a thing. Karate, we have these like, and like we a lot. Well, I'm gonna say they fight like this because they don't allow leg kicks. They do allow sweeps, but the other person's also back here. So if they're gonna attempt a sweep, they're going to move forward, you'll know, right? It's so much easier to like get an ankle from close up. It's comically like, it's unbelievable. Normally I like to go full shiner But this was just my dicking around time. So whatever. And now it's a beautiful night that we've shared. I'm grateful for that. Okay. Let's see if I remember this. I have so little space to do this. See, even here, this is like strike the ankle, push the ankle out of the way, which practically is actually pretty hard. You're so far away, especially if they have their weight on that foot. But that's what you're supposed to do. Here, foot sweep, right? Why, I don't need to be like this. I don't want to fight like that because I've learned that if you announce your attacks, then people are ready for them, right? It's so much better to kind of go like regular style and then, I can fire from here. I practice the Kyokushin style of kicking, which means I don't do these like exaggerated long shapes to keep me way back here. I kind of go chop more up. It's also easier on my back, right? So I can kick from the head, like my own head from here. So why would I do that? A Leo? Just turned 30. We're getting old. Look, I don't know when everyone else's like transition points are, but I had a hard one at 27. That's when I hit my like full peak physically. And then I started to come down. But after 33 is when I personally started to see things like, it was like, oh, fuck. That's when my back started to get really bad. I've had back problems for a while, but I've tried to ignore them. Here, up. Then you have these moves where you kind of like, you rest it on your shoulder and you use it to... And we're not doing these crazy, things here. It's just big stick, smash. And I switch by pressing both hands together. Switch like that. Where was I? I don't know. Doesn't matter. My favorite part is towards the end. It's like here, and I don't want to hit the light over my head. Jesus Christ. Here, another one of these. Cool little pose. You do your little... I'm starting to feel the pains too at an active childhood. Or the ones the rest hate. Well, they hate us because they ain't us, Well, they don't. What's the other one that I know? It's like something like that. Here, another one of these. Oh, there's this like spear move here. There's also, another move that we have is you take the end, put it in your imaginary sand in the environment that you are fighting with your bosa, and you flick the sand in their eyes. Bam! On the top of the head. And then you block something and then you stab them there. Let's see. That's probably the coolest bow move. I mean, that's the thing about like legit karate is like it's a lot less fancy than you want it to be. Everyone left legit. Scare them away. Maybe it's because Neptune's in something or other. With love comes fire when done dirty. Can you spin the stick? Yeah, I can spin the stick. Of course. Of course I can spin the stick. The trick is not hitting the light Whoops. Like that. I'm not as good with my left hand. I don't know. That's the other thing about karate katas is like all of the open hand stuff, you normally do everything to both sides. You go one, and then you do the other side. With weapons, you only do the right side over and over. It's like right side, over and over and over again. Drives me bonkers. I crave balance, especially with an asymmetrical spine. The police don't understand. Yeah, I'm surprised. A lot of the a lot of the cop people that I interact with on the channel are either like into it, like self-defense and all that stuff. Being like the karate usually has like the positive morality spin generally, although, I curse a lot and all that. But maybe we scared him off with the talk of the nunchuck pipes and, maybe he had to leave for, what is it? Plausible deniability. That's what it is. When will you get off? Pretty soon, maybe like 10 more minutes. I was going to do a bunch of katas and stuff, but it's been fun hanging out, chatting, spinning some sticks and talking shop. Maybe I should do a little like training. I don't know. And this is like something this is why I destroyed my spine, because I'm always like, oh, I didn't do enough, right? Like I'm not sore. I didn't do blank number of sets. And so I'll just blow out my discs, so that it like counts. It's a bad attitude. Train you? Okay. I'd love to. I can train you in anything. I mean, again, not tap dancing, just in capoeira. Although my back's not super good for all the crazy moves anymore, but we can do the ginga, this thing. There's like some crazy stuff. The one move you see a lot is either the like plant kick, they plant the hand, or the reverse hand plant, which is super fucking powerful. Boom. Like that. Can you do training videos? I'll show up every day. Normally be weirdos in the chat. I'm so grateful I didn't get any like weird freaks or like the bots that spam, like racist stuff or anything like that. And negative. I mean, I can handle the negative stuff because like that's the other thing. If you've fought people, if you've like gotten hurt, if you've gotten your bell rung, if you've been choked and all that shit, you don't need to like convince other people that you can do it. The people that are like if you have to tell people you're the king, you're not the king, right? Game of Thrones, wasn't it? I don't really care. I mean, I love karate. It's the way I started. I mean, the way I fight is more like a kickboxer. I don't do hook kicks unless I'm like messing around with, like a white belt or something. And I'm like, oh, gotcha. Or I'm demonstrating it, but I don't really do the flashy stuff. I fight very much in here, like very tucked in, very like, I might grab you with this hand, like grab the sleeve. That's a good one. I've done that in Kumite a lot. You go here, you get the sleeve, or you can grab the hand. You just underneath. You can't hear? Oh, you can hear now. Okay. What's your favorite drink? Do you drink alcohol? Not a ton anymore. Occasionally I will. As I've gotten older, my physical ability to survive the alcohol has like significant don't play beer pong around alcoholics is the worst. Well, then they always have the rules, right? It's like their house rules are always like, oh, well, since I like slapped my own ass, that means you have to, chug an entire beer. And it's difficult because they need to get to a place where they start feeling it, and then everyone else is already has alcohol poisoning. I don't. Well, I don't drink beer because I am unable to burp. I was going to wait to reveal that kind of personal thing, but I can't burp. I've never been able to. It drives me fucking bonkers. I feel like a seagull that's eaten an Alka-Seltzer pellet, you know, and I'll be bloated like a pregnant woman, and it's awful. I can't. Oh my god. Alcoholics want to lose. Yeah. Oops. Guess I got to take the shot. Yeah. I've known many alcoholics. Some, less or more destructive than others. What do I want to do? I wanted to stretch a little bit, maybe. That might be good. Get some mobility. You know what I mean? I do stretching a little differently. I mean, I do some splits and, the things I picked up from my time in the ballet, but some of the other stretches look something like this. Oh. I spend time in these extreme positions so that I'm comfortable in these positions and strong. Oh, feels good. I used to be bad in drinking. Am I willing to do training videos? Does the Pope shit in the woods? Spoiler alert, he does. Yeah, of course I want to do training videos. I had posted some of my own training at one point. Didn't really, people weren't super interested, but it was super long. And I was doing a bunch of random things. But what I would love to do, okay, part one is create just standalone videos for at-home training, both in terms of fitness, strength, mobility, physical capability, and martial arts technique. I mean, I'd love to branch out into some of the other ones. I just, the karate is what people have the most eyes on. So I could do Muay Thai, kickboxing, home, stuff like that, in-depth technique, that sort of stuff. I would also love to do regular classes where I'm live, where I can answer people's questions, in the middle of it. Now, the best way to train virtually would be on a Zoom call where I can also see you, because ultimately that's I can't really give you strong corrections unless you know the right questions to ask, which maybe you do. But I would very much love, and I've done many, Zoom, FaceTime lessons for years. So whether that be group stuff, I'm sure once I get the channel to the point where it's monetized, that's probably where the members section will be, is very advanced technical training, stuff like that. I don't know if you can do members only lives, I'm not sure. But ultimately, I would love to do classes where I can actually correct a person, just because it's the best way. It's the fastest way to get you doing it right. And there are some limitations to doing it virtually, but luckily I went to school for describing movement. So Working out and having motivation has been hard, but I used to like wrestling and stuff and sparring in my youth. I want to get back at it. You should. Can you have mod? Maybe. I got to learn what that's about. But, you know, I imagine I'll need mods. And I know you know how to lay down the law. So, you know what? Yeah, when I get to mods, I'll make you a mod. Okay, let me write this down. And you don't have to take any bullets for me. Okay? You don't get paid enough. Perfect. All right. Yeah. I don't know if you'll get a notification or what. I'll let you know. I mean, you seem pretty cool about it. I mean, I never want to, you know, push anyone's buttons or anything, but I mean, that's like that's real life shit, you know? And I feel like half the problem is like people don't understand the reality of things. I think your living would grow doing training videos. Oh yeah, and I mean that's the goal, right? Is like as much as I love just like dispensing wisdom about or covering sort of general martial arts topics, that's where that I'm interested in the training, and that's where I've learned all this stuff is through training. Even like as a professional dancer, I traveled the world, toured internationally. I mean, our tours were like 2-3 months long sometimes, and I love performing. It's awesome. But the training, the practice is my favorite part. Like I don't really I mean I've won a ton of I did the whole trophy thing earlier. I've won a ton of competitions. You know, no offense to everyone else, but it's like if I just show up and I win gold every time, it's like, well, I don't need to try or challenge myself. So the training, the like intricate details, like the fine tuning and like translating that into a way that, I have to take all of this like anatomical stuff and translate it into a way that like you hear in a way that like you feel it in your body. So that is the work. You know what I mean? That's what I want to do. So, I mean, I've just picked up the channel again after a 6 month break or something like that. But that's definitely the goal. I've figured out how to stage this place in a way that I think I can make it work. So that is definitely coming. And now that I've been directly asked for it, I'll make it a priority for sure. Finding real, authentic stuff has been so hard. People always want to do dumb shit to get views, but you can change lives. It will be great. I know a few YouTubers to make you go famous. Bro, listen, I feel like I got some good stories. And I want to transform people. My life has changed in crazy ways from martial arts, dance, all the stuff that I've done. And people told me, you know how many people told me like, oh, you don't have the frame for, getting all these big muscles. And I was like, go fuck yourself. I will do what I want. And I did. And I hit it as hard as possible. I gained 100 pounds in like a year and a half, 2 years, became enormous. I still have the stretch marks like on my biceps. Like the reality is you can change your life. If you choose to do it and you commit to it, people, all the anticipation and the like, what if it, well, I don't know, but it's so much harder than it actually is. Everything is way more intense than in your head than it ever is practically. Because people that are less capable than you, less intelligent than you, with less motivation, have made it work somehow. if there are other idiots that can make it work, you can make it work. You know what I mean? Like, celebrities, everybody, they got two eyes, two ears, two arms and legs, and maybe not all of that stuff. You know, you see people that can write with their feet, or like drive cars with their mouths. It's crazy. Oh, I think your new boyfriend might have left. I mean, that's all I want. And it sounds corny, but like, I didn't make money teaching karate to kids. I don't really enjoy teaching karate to kids. It's a lot of it's like babysitting. And then the parents like kind of expect you to like teach them discipline and respect and all this other stuff, you know. I don't really enjoy that. But I am compelled to I have learned all of this stuff. I have found the secrets of transforming your body and your life. And it's this far away from people and they have no idea. And I'm screaming into the void trying to get people to understand this, that you I'm not I have scoliosis. I have like a ripped tendon in my spine. Like, I'm a karate triple black belt gold, what, like, you would be shocked at what you could do if you just do it. And everyone says it. Everyone says it, right? Everyone says, well, you just try it. And it sounds stupid, right? It's like, oh, go fuck yourself. I just try and then it works. I was not a dancer. I was in college and my roommate locked me out because he was having a temper tantrum about his breakup. I went to the recreational room on campus to see what was going on, to like wait it out. They had salsa dancing going on. So I did the salsa dancing. I was a huge bodybuilder. I look like a gorilla. They were like, you're really good at this. You should think about coming back. I was like, damn. And there's like very few men in dance. So you get a lot of like women that are like, oh, please come back. So like it's very persuasive. So totally random, right? And I just kept going and I learned most of my moves from YouTube and I became competitive level in less than a year. I mean, I learned fast, but I'm just some guy, That can be a lot of pressure. Do I want to get famous? I mean, I think there are a lot of things about fame that I probably could not handle very well. There are times where I don't want to be seen, which I have control over, right? But when you're famous, it leaks into your life. I wouldn't mind being known. I mean, as a martial artist, and especially as a karate person, like the chance of me becoming like, recognizable to like random people on the street is extremely low. But I mean, the other thing is I've been a performer my whole life. And so I think, and I'm also a lot older. So in a lot of ways, there are things that I don't really give a shit about anymore. Like, I'm not embarrassed that I haven't shaved my balding head. I don't give a single shit. So I don't really like, you can mock my looks or whatever, and I'd probably laugh if it's a funny joke. I just don't care, So a lot of it, I think it wouldn't bother me, but it depends. I mean, there is a lot of pressure. If you get super famous, which I don't foresee for myself, but I would have to do a lot of like, getting my shit together for sure. Of, cause it's just different to be watched all the time. I like having time to myself where I can just be a little gremlin, and like run around the house on all fours or whatever I want to do, And sometimes it's like, it's not that I'm doing anything crazy. You just don't want to be watched 24/7. So, but I don't have any problem like broadcasting live, or I don't have a fear of like public speaking, or it like, I doubt if someone came up to me on the street and was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" I wouldn't be like, "Oh," I'm not going to freak out or anything. I would like to be famous enough that I can fulfill my life's purpose instead of work and try and fit all of my calling into the free time, which I believe is like probably teaching, and I don't know. I really look for the potential in a lot of people, and I see a lot of it, and it's so untapped, and it makes me sad. It really does. Like, and that's what my favorite thing is, like, potential. I want to achieve my maximum potential. That's been like what I've done my whole life. So when I see other people with a lot of potential, I'm very interested. Those are the fascinating people to me. So, but I want to bring that out of people. I want to see what everyone's mutant powers are. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about being the strongest X-Men. I just want to see what everyone got in the lottery. You know what I mean? I got high testosterone and the abs from when you're 5 years old genes. What did you get? I want to see the athletic freaks. I want to turn people into freaks. I would love to turn every one of my followers into a monster, an incredible Hulk, just writhing muscle mass, just like unbelievably capable. That's my dream, And for some reason, it's hard to sell people on. I don't really know. It's hard. It's like when you're older, you have the wisdom of experience, and then you try and relay that experience to the younger generation. And I remember, because I was a teenager and people told me, "Kyle, if you do X, Y, and Z too much, you're gonna blow your back out and you're gonna X, Y, and Z." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe you, but I'm different." Well, turns out I'm not that different, So I also get that, like, at a certain point, there's no translating experience. I can warn the next generation all I want about, the injuries that I've had, or, like not getting into fights. But a lot of people don't want to listen, or they're not ready to listen, so it's hard. It's an uphill battle, but I'm committed to doing this an authentic way. With the AI slop that's coming in, it's just, it's not going away. So I feel like providing a place where I'm not going to do, crazy editing, or, get super high in the production, because I just want to get directly to you. I want to suss out what your mutant powers, get you to use them, right? And not just like level 1, like I'm talking like Dark Phoenix, like the full evolution. Okay. It's fascinating to me. It's fun. And it's cool. And it's a way I can give back and like, look at all the stuff I've learned. Let me sum it up for you and give you the key points, because that's what's important, is the key core principles. The details don't really matter. And if people had that kind of confidence and understood that everything crosses over, like people that do parkour, they have a lot of spatial intelligence, like there's a lot of brilliance in the world. You just got to find it. And maybe you haven't even tried the thing. You haven't even found out, like, before I found dance, if you would ask me, hey, do you want to dance? I'd be like, no. I mean, like the moonwalk, you know? Like I do a little uh, thriller thing, but you know, I had no desire to. It was only when I was exposed to it that I discovered it, and then it changed the course of my entire life. I've had many moments like that, and I want to encourage others to do that. You know, can you do a quick dance piece? Interesting. I mean, that's kind of like asking an author to write a sentence or something. I think I need a little more context. I mean, the kind of stuff I did was I was I mean, like amateur professional level of like Latin ballroom. Um, I became proficient and trained in contemporary modern dance, classically trained in ballet as well. I wouldn't say I'm like proficient in ballet. I've performed. I was the prince in the Nutcracker. No big deal. But it was for like a small show. So, like I said, men are very rare in dance. Quick dance piece. So, I mean, a lot of the dance moves that I was trained in, the Lamone technique, are these big like release and swings and like big spinal things that I can't really do anymore. Um, but let's see. I think I might need the carpet. So if you can wait for me to pull up the floor. Well, okay. So let me try and think of some like okay. So whatever. So like here first, like tendus. Oops. I haven't done it in a while. Side, back, side, here, and then you can do like beats this way, right? Little développé, stuff like that. I don't have a great point, especially now. I haven't trained it like that hard in a long time. I have very flat feet, but it doesn't matter because I'm a dude. Let's see. Some other ballet would be like Bombe Panabure. I can't turn on the mat because it'll destroy my knees. I haven't tried. Oh, I can't really jump that well. My back. Let's see if I can do. Okay. So, changement is where the legs switch places. Like that. A royale is where the front leg crosses in front and goes behind. It's sort of like a cheat way to do it. That. Maybe that's why you couldn't hear me earlier. Okay, let me know if you can't hear me. All right. So salsa as like the dude is like you have your basic da 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 da. I'm getting a little fancy. Da 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, shit like that. I need like a person to do all of the fancy bullshit. I can't remember any of the old like modern pieces that I did, but I don't know. I haven't done an improv in a long time. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up the mats. We've abandoned karate training at this point. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I used to do was contact improvisation, which is essentially where you like roll on people and pick them up, but it's not like choreographed. You're just kind of doing it. So you have to like read the other person's weight and kind of it's super good for training your nonverbal communication. But toss this over here. See how I pick things up in Shikodachi? It's better on the back. Sumo deadlift also. Okay, so let's see what we can see. Hopefully I don't flash my ass or anything. So I mean a lot of the stuff is gonna be like floor work. So like sliding, you know, handstands, stuff like that. You know, I can't do roll. I used to be really good at like rolling back. It's really not good for me, so I shouldn't do it. But you know, there's like old breakdance moves where again I can't completely invert or I'm going to destroy my spine. You like kick up over this way. I like to do a lot of like pitched turns, you know, like the wacky stuff. I don't really like doing like pretty things. I like doing things kind of, you know, bent and strange. You can hear. Good. Good. Hopefully you can't see. Pants coming down. See, that's mostly what the belt's for. Let's see, what were other... There was this like... A lot of times in rehearsals, the artistic director would like... I would be joking around with the other dancers, you know, and I'd do something stupid, and then he'd be like, oh, yeah, we're putting that in the piece. And I'm like, don't. So like one of them was like, let's see if I can even do it. It was like this and just like staring. I just did it to people to be weird. But we put it in the piece and we performed it all over the fucking world. And it was, spoiler alert, that's how a lot of art is created. I love your confidence when you speak. Thank you. And it comes from practice. I've done it a lot. I did theater in high school with family. I did like community theater, musicals. That was a family thing we did. I was going to do acting in college, switched to dance. You know, so I've had to face a lot of strangers and improvise before. And, you know, at a certain point, especially my age, you learn it's like most of it doesn't matter, you know? And like, if someone doesn't like me, great. They're going to drive my engagement up. I don't give a shit, you know? Like, I just don't care. So a lot of it is, you know, whatever. We're like 2 hours deep into this live. There's not a lot of people here, you know. Melt? That's another old thing of me. I've just never really understood how to use emojis well. You know, I like, and like a bunch of kids started like telling me that the crying waterfalls emoji was laughing now. I don't know. I'm old. Oh. Okay. Let's see if I got my splits. Let's see. Let's find out together. Let's find out. I don't have a good, or I don't have front splits at all. My scoliosis, which I keep saying like it's, you know, an out or something, but you know, my hip sockets are more outward facing than most men. The reason most men typically run faster, jump higher than women is not only because of the muscles and all that, but because of leverage. Like women have like more outward facing hip sockets, which makes them really good this way, but you run into your bones if you come too far forward. So, but mine are more outward facing, so to the side I'm really flexible, to the front I'm not really. I don't know if that's interesting. Oh man. I do a frog here. Everyone can get a nice shot of this here. I wish, honestly, it would just all go up here if it was going to do that. You know, I'm ready. Oh. And that's another thing about getting older is the maintenance work has to increase. You have to do cool downs. I mean, just even after like the little things I did there, you know, I'm capable of other dancing, but I used to crump. Most people aren't aware of, crump as a style, but it's super aggressive and it throws my back out every single time I do it. But I love it so much, it's like these big movements and you like get crazy and you like throw your hat and shit. Not a hat guy, so I don't have a hat to throw. Let's do a little bitty ballistic stretch. That's the thing people don't understand is if you want to kick high, you can't just pull on your muscles. You gotta do it the way you would actually do it. So I gotta be gentle though. I gotta be gentle. I gotta be good. I gotta be good. And I'm not trying to, I could go higher, but I just want an easy, I'm teaching the muscles that it's safe to lengthen in that place. The other side. Feels good. It's like flossing. God. The pants. Other karate pants have drawstrings, but I hate drawstrings, so I don't train in them. And again, I could kick over my own head, but I've learned it's not about doing the maximum. In fact, you should rarely do the maximum. Oh, I feel like I can let that one go. All right, let's see. Okay, that was all right. The real shame is I had worked on a decent arabesque, which is this to the back in ballet, but it's so hard on the back. I can't do it anymore. So that means I can't like do high. I used to be able to back kick above my own head. Not anymore. It's a shame. That would look really cool. I can't even get that one higher. Scoliosis like bends me this way. It's tough. But nobody's perfect. Nobody's symmetrical. Except the people they engineer in Hollywood or whatever. What else? I could hit the Maki a little bit. Is anyone still here? We got people still here. We got top fans. See, I thought nobody would care about nunchucks. I'm happy to be proven wrong. All right. The secret to confidence when you speak: don't give a shit about the people you're talking to. Right? Think about the strangers you've met in the last week. What do you remember about them? Little to nothing, right? Think about the random shit you've heard people say, out on the street. Do you remember it? No. Most people are so far up their own asses and so self-interested, they do not even have the bandwidth to consider you. So you are far freer to speak your mind, particularly nowadays. I don't know if you've been around on the news or whatever, but I feel like you can say pretty much whatever you want. And, there's very few consequences. So, ultimately, you just got to try it. And then when you see that nothing bad happens, it's fine. And here's the other thing you don't consider. I probably don't reach people with very big confidence issues. Like they can't relate to me, right? Or they think like, oh, I couldn't be like that. I was shy. I was super shy as a kid. But as a performer, I learned you could just say stuff to people and, it's more like a video game than you think. I mean, the consequences are real, you know what I mean? But like I've shouted, like genitalia words at the top of my lungs in the middle of crowded spaces. And guess what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So, they don't know what you know, right? They don't know that you're nervous or that you like stutter, or they don't know. They don't know shit. Let's see. I need to back you up. Confidence is a skill. It's not a quality. Strength is a skill. It's not a quality. And there's a good way to practice this. Just go somewhere completely outside of your circle, right? So like if I don't know, if you go to anime stores and gaming places, go to an antiques place and say something completely out of pocket. Or like I worked at a place, okay, this is deep Sensei Kyle lore. I worked at a place where I was upset that none of the rules were enforced. And so I would play around with this. I would run on all fours, back before my back was bad, through a cubicle office, like going, Whoa! I would like engage people in song, and I would like run through the I'd be like, we're in the Matrix, Agent Smith is after me. I just do crazy random shit because it didn't matter, because no one did anything. Everything's made up and the points don't matter. Okay? Would you rather you stay silent and spare everyone having to see that you're nervous for doing something the first time, to never have a voice? I don't know. I think you might have some things to say. And other people, the vast majority, are nervous. Most people are shy. Most people are not confident, outgoing. So that's actually more relatable than me, right? I'm like bombastic and I'm like, I'll be in your face and I'll be like, come at me. I have this attitude, but that might throw people off. If people see someone that also is like nervous to speak, but like takes that step, that can be very empowering to you and them. And then you both get better at it. Again, you've got to expose yourself to stuff to develop that. The trick is to do it, right? You will always have to do the like you'll always have to make mistakes. You'll always have to get like the bad reps out of the way, right? It's like, well, I should never do push-ups because I don't know how to do them right. Like, no, you learn and then you start and then you're weak and then you get it's the same thing. It's the same thing with confidence. It's the same thing with willpower. It's the same thing, right? Dieting, right? You say, okay, you know, I'm going to drop every single thing that I love and only eat vegetables. No, that doesn't work, right? You have to exercise it. You add in one vegetable to one meal, and you do that for a couple of weeks, just like exercise. You acclimate. And that's the thing. It's easy, but you don't understand until you do it. You just have to have the guts to start, wait and see that nothing really bad happens. It's fine. It's fine. And you're going to be fine. And maybe someone will be better for hearing your voice, right? Maybe you can touch someone in ways that I can't. Maybe you can transform them, get them public speaking. Maybe they're the next, I don't know, Markiplier or like, motivational speaker, maybe, whatever, politician. I mean, if the idiots in charge now can do it, I mean, any one of us can do it. It's easy to say, and it's hardest up front. It is the scariest up front, right? The first time you have to go to the hospital, it's scary as hell. But then you go the next time and it's like, oh, the food here is like that. You learn that it's not as bad as you were expecting, and that effect gets smaller and smaller over time. And I've just done it so much, I've already done those reps. I'm just a little bit farther ahead of you, or a figurative you. I'm just a little ahead. I just started early. That's all. So try it. Go to the grocery store, talk to the cashier about some random thing, ask them a question. That's the other thing about confidence. Just start asking people questions. They will open up like a can. It's people want to talk about themselves. It's a super easy way to get people friendly. Just like ask them, hey, tell me about yourself. That's interesting. Ask a follow-up question. You've already initiated, a new friendship, acquaintance, whatever. You're getting your reps in. I got to be kind of light on these. This is all right. How loud is this? I have noise canceling on. Did you ever test your punch pressure? Not in terms of like a number of pounds of force. I think earlier in the chat we talked about one of those testers, but people broke their hands and arms punching it. So I didn't really want to, I didn't want to do any of that. But I've broken boards. So I don't know what it's equivalent to, and I don't know what they were like, made of. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to measure, and like no punch is like equal to another one. There's so many variables. I'm very curious though. I've probably hurt my back testing it too. Ooh, interesting. I'm just going to let this be completely almost loose. I'm just going to tighten the wrist. Let's see how it goes. And I'm only drawing back because, well, you can't even see. I'm only drawing back because I'm like floppy with this on. But that's why you can have your hands here, right? And like, all right, so I'm here. Whoa, hey, dude. Like, slow your roll. Bam! Crack. Pop goes a weasel. Makiwara is a good feedback tool. When you hit it right, you can feel the force go directly back, and the sounds, right. I've never tried to kick through a baseball bat before. I've seen some Muay Thai people do it. I don't know. It's just so, you just get a few inches off into that lower, weaker part of that shin. I used to train, like, I don't really believe in like the one knuckle, get him in the eye thing. I just thumb him. But I did try and make the hiraken, which is the leopard's fist, where you strike with the first set of knuckles here. I tried to make that work, but it's super bad for you. And the sensei that I know that does that kind of stuff, like all of his knuckles, he can't straighten his fingers, and he like barely can write. So what's the deadliest punch one could do? That depends. And I hate to say that, but it really depends. I mean, oftentimes it's not the punch. Like, people rarely die from getting hit in the head from a punch. It's usually them hitting something on the way down, right? So it depends. And like, what do you consider deadly? Like, is brain damage worse than like trying to like collapse the throat, which is harder than people think it is. But it's viable, like you hit someone really hard in the throat. I mean, that could end up killing them. But you can do other things too. Like, you can rupture certain organs. So it really depends, like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, probably something to like the throat or the back of the head. I mean, some of the things that are illegal in the UFC are illegal for stupid reasons, like the 12-6 vertical elbow is illegal, but it's one of the weakest elbows. It looks impressive, but it's like, it's so hard to generate force like this versus that, or even like coming up. It's so much easier to pat than, like this, none of us are Tony Jaa. This isn't Ong Bak, right? We can't do the double thing. What's about in the throat or nose? See, a lot of people, there's this myth that's been like propagated that you can push the nose bone directly into the brain. But if that were true, we'd have seen it in the UFC by now, because those guys' noses get like crumpled inwards. And what they do is they just break down like this. It doesn't shoot up like a pin into your brain. So, I mean, a lot of people get hit in the throat, but that's also like, I don't know that that's legal. I mean, you can hit the collarbone, which can break. The collarbone's super easy to break. Like, if you hammer fist a collarbone pretty hard, you can probably break it. They're surprisingly thin, but it's not deadly. So probably the deadliest punch is the one that knocks them over with the most force. So either the most surprising punch, or it's so hard to say. And that's when you get to this point in like martial arts knowledge, it's like there's so many answers to every question. And every time someone's like, well, what if I did this? It's like, well, there are 6 other answers I could say, which also have 18 other different, there's no perfect anything, Anything you do leaves you open, right? Like, if I throw a punch, I have to make myself open. You always have to trade something, right? If I pick up the leg to kick, I'm off balance. Like, I have to pay a price. And then I like to do the palm here. Again, I don't do the finger. I don't do anything like this. This is stupid. You don't need training to pull someone's eyes out. If you just really tried to, you could. And I don't always like throw my shotes, my palms, straight out. You can. I've done a lot of training where you perform open-handed hooks, right? Boss Rutan style. Super effective. Also, unlikely to break your knuckles that way. I broke this knuckle receiving a roundhouse kick. I partially tore a tendon in this knuckle. I broke a chunk. You see that little white section there? That's a little chunk that broke off of the rest of it. Breaking boards, punching hard shit. I've tried punching a 2x4. Don't do that. It doesn't work. It's not good. It just tears up your shit. What time is it? Okay. Probably gotta stop doing this. It's late. My neighbor's old. Can't be shaking the walls. All right. Well, now's a good time to show you how to do this the right way. Okay. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. It's been fun. I did a Twitch stream, not working out or anything, but no one showed, so I'm again pleasantly surprised. I'm grateful. How was it to compete? My experience competing is not like most people's, and I'm just like trying to be honest. I only speak this confidently because I know what I've seen and done, but like everyone in my region, I was just leagues ahead. I didn't start competing in karate until I was an adult, and that was after I was a professionally trained dancer. So I had a ton of advantages. I mean, not even just like kicking the legs high, but like knowing where people are in space and like having that intuitive understanding weight distribution, timing of movement, catching people right as they're about to step and take their foot out. It's so funny, but I think I'm doing this right. I don't know. No, I haven't been doing it right. So yeah, I like my first competition. I won this enormous trophy here. Oh God, not the medals, but this enormous trophy I won for doing a kata. Like I think it was like 3 months after I came back to karate after being gone for like 20 years. I smoked him. One of the problems of being an adult is that there's not a lot of people in the intermediate belt levels. I was a green belt when I came back. And there was like one other guy that was like 15 years older than me. He was a purple belt. And then like this 16-year-old kid. So like the competition for a lot of them was just not that strong, no offense to people, but I brought my performance understanding from dance into the kata competition space. So I was more dramatic than other people, and I was like very strong. My style was like very like hard, and so, and my ki is very loud. Like a lot of people go, "Aye" or "Yeah," but oh man, it's so late. Okay, I'll give you a really short one. But like it might be something like that. So, it's like a bark. So it like sometimes I've like scared people. I'll be like, "Tah, pah," and like pop them in the face. Um, so my experience was the competition was super easy, and I over prepared heavily. I'm just not going to do this. I over prepared heavily, and I didn't need to. Like I would have been better served just relaxing, and like saving my joints. Um, but mostly I would like, I don't like to eat heavy before I perform or anything. And those competitions, they take forever. Like they say they start at like 10 a.m., but then they wait for all the latecomers because they want all the admission fees, right? So they do that. And then, everyone's late. Everyone, all the older, like fifth, sixth degrees got to do a little speech of like, hey, so I'm, blank, whatever. Oh, it's like a whole kit and caboodle. They improvise the whole fucking thing. There's no plan or script. So everything starts like the divisions get all cattywampus because it's just like one volunteer that handled all the registration of like 120 people. And then, you wait like hours and hours and hours, and like you start by like warming up and you practice, but then like you haven't eaten anything and you don't want to go eat because you don't know, like you could be up in 20 minutes or in 3 hours. You don't know. And the higher up you get in the belts, the later you go traditionally in the day. So you really just got to sit around and wait. So a lot of the nerves kind of die down just because you're waiting so friggin' long. And, you're like talking to like the parents of the kids that are doing their thing, hanging out, drinking water, like warming up like 3 or 4 different times. And then you go do it. You get super nervous, right? It's like, okay. And you sit down, and then I really like going first. I like getting it out of the way. Like as much as I love performing and competing, and I'm very confident, I very much just want to be done with it so I can just like hang out and enjoy myself. So usually I'll go like second or third or something, and so I'm like sitting there, and I'm like trying to like go through the kata mentally in my head one last time because that's gonna be the difference. Um, and then I go up, I do it super, and I like a lot of people like they're pretty casual and they're like, so, suparimpe. So, but I cater, and all the judges are like older, right? So they're not the like shorter attention span. They appreciate you take your time. So do everything kind of like and like you build up this tension, and so it starts and it kind of like commands the room, right? And so you do your kata, do the whole thing, right? And I hit my ki eyes real fucking hard. Like people like jump, and like my senseis have always told me like don't do it, like that's too much, it's too throaty, you need to do it like I. But I'm like, that's not me. Again, another video I'm in the process of making. It's about expressing yourself, right? And that's not my energy isn't I. My energy is bah! So that's what I give them. So I hit them really hard, and I usually try and line up. A lot of the kata moves have their ki eyes like on the center line, so I try and line that up kind of close to a judge, and I'll do the like technique like right in front of their face. Again, super ballsy, and some of them do that. But when you do it with control, it like really. So you do all that, and then you don't stop, right? You finish your kata, whatever. right? You treat everything like it's part of the performance because it is, because they're watching you all of that time. So you do that, then you sit down and you're like, oh God. And you finally relax, and then you wait for a while, you let a bunch of other people go, and I would compete in multiple things, right? So I'd have like empty hand, you do the katas, I'd do weapons, I'd also sometimes do sparring. So that would take all day. And then I got to do all the black belt stuff like afterward. So it takes forever. And by the end, you're underfed, you're super tired, totally exhausted, both physically, and just like socially, you're really tired from just like, you just all these people and parents are like, oh, did you see, young, blank's kata? And it's like, yes, well, we tried to work on the key, it's a lot of energy. Excuse me. Ugh. I'm not used to speaking for this long. So for me, competing was super easy. It was fun. But at a certain point, I stopped, not only because like trophies are cool. I would imagine that's awesome. It is fun. And like, look, I don't discount for a second the fact that I can just walk into these places and win. Part of that is because the competition in my brackets weren't huge. I mean, I have won in black belt divisions with all sorts of people, but you know, it's it's great confirmation, of like, okay, I know kind of where I stand based on, the criteria of the tournament. But like it feels good, and then you do all of the belts and or not belts, the like medals and the trophies at the end, and they work up from like third place, second place, first place, um, and like everyone expected me to get gold, and I did, but like after you do it like so many times, like I don't even know, this isn't even all of them. I mean, not all of these are like, I've competed in some things just like offhand and gotten like a bronze, but everything that I really cared about, I got gold, 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 and it was just like at a certain point, I was taking medals from other people that wanted them more than I did. And I thought that was kind of unfair. Like it became like sort of the thing in the dojo to be like, oh, well, Kyle's going to get first. So maybe I'll get second, and like hearing teenagers and like young adults and like talk like that, it broke my heart, because it's like, I just think this is like neat, and it's like it's cool and it jingles and it makes for good, like visuals. I mean, my favorite trophy, honestly, is this one, the Grand Champion one, because it's a little hulking karate man, which is definitely, this guy's my spirit animal, hair included. So, that was cool. But at a certain point, I was just taking medals from other people that wanted it worse or wanted it more. And that was like unfair. I don't really need to prove anything. I sparred with some of my senseis I could beat. Many of them I couldn't. So, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I proved myself in my community and my region. And, the training is my favorite part. I got a few trophies and a good spread of medals, and I was like, all right, that'll look good on the mantle. I think that's enough. Let everyone else have it, because I was more focused on the training and teaching. Performance, you learn things, but it's not the same. You don't learn a lot of like technical nuance, in like body mechanics or anything. during a performance. In my experience, I mean, usually I hit like sort of a flow state, so I can't remember what's going on. I'm super like, it's sort of like I'm observing myself do it in real time. That's how it was dancing for me too. Like we practiced the choreography for like 9 months, and then we go on tour. So at that point, it's so thoroughly that I can like think things like, oh, he threw her like really high because he's like nervous. So it took her an extra second, so she'll be a second late. You can think all these things while you're doing these, you know, crazy moves. And that's what my experience was like competing. So I would do these things and be like, what do you think? And it's like, I can't really remember. I just kind of did it. It's not like a blackout. But again, it's like the flow state is another thing that can be trained. It can be practiced. It's a skill. So all of my years of competing and performing, or not competing, but performing in front of people, I just knew how to get into the right headspace of like the right level of adrenaline, with the right level of, nervousness, but like a little bit of calm. It's you just have to try it out a bunch. You find your balance, and then you just find that feeling, and then you try and like get there a little bit faster each time. Doing something you love hits different than just trying to win, so it makes sense. Yeah, and I mean, and that's the other thing is like, if I really had to fight hard to win, maybe I would have felt differently, but it was pretty easy for, like, I could have like not really trained that hard or practice and probably still with performance quality still won. Um, you know, but hindsight, right? I always did more than was necessary. Like if I did 80% effort, I would have become, you know, famous. Like, I was good, but I just overdid it because I'm too excited. So I'm gonna grab water. I'll be right back. Can't believe we're still going. So my competition experience was not how everyone's will be. Am I married? No, I am not married. I was briefly betrothed, I'd say, to somebody, but no longer. I had I had a girlfriend in college tell me that, oh, you'd be like the perfect person to marry, but we're in college. I'm trying to, have a good time. So I was like, all right, well, cool. Great feedback. Thanks. See you later. She married the next guy she dated. I do not have children. Nope. Which allows me to do karate for hours in the evening. But no, I'm an uncle, but no daddy. I'm getting good dad vibes. Thank you. I've heard that a number of times. And I would be. I'd be very supportive, encouraging, I'd probably try and get them to learn life lessons early, but it's hard, like even trying to persuade kids that look up to you and idolize you, getting them to like do what you are like. It's like, I swear to God, this is going to be so good for you. Just please do it. And their little brains, I don't know what happens, So the other thing is, you don't really know who you're going to get. My nephew is a little like sweetheart, he doesn't push too hard. My niece is a little firecracker and she pushes the boundaries. What kind of women do I like? It really depends. And that's like not a cop out answer, but certain oh my god, I got my sleeve hook. It depends. I mean, different things work for different people, right? Like you can't just copy and paste certain parts of people onto others. It would look strange, right? So everything's just got to work together, right? I've dated multiple races. I've, dated younger, older. Um, I dated um, my one of my salsa partners and I were romantically involved in college. Um, I broke up with her in the middle of training for a rumba performance. Ooh. So we switched the choreography a little bit, so it was a little more like whatever. So we still won. So I might have to pull the mic out. I don't know what the audio is going to be like because the phone's about to die. I might need to go soon. We'll see. But it really depends. Like usually I like confidence. Really, it's like I like people that are capable, have a lot of potential, and seek to pursue their potential. So I mean, I've dated shorter than myself, taller than me. My dance partner was taller than me, actually, particularly in heels. And I wore heels too. That's the other thing. The male salsa dancers wear heels. I think normally it was like just like going to teaching class and stuff was like 1 inch, but then I think my good shoes were 2.5 inches and they were a smaller one. So I mean, it everyone's really unique, and it just takes certain combinations of. And those not everyone has had the same build. I've dated very thin, not so thin. It it really just depends on the person. But I'm pretty picky, and I don't really date a lot. Uh, I tend to try and find diamonds and go for those when I see them. But and that's. I have rejected a lot of people too. Um, and who knows? I mean, they were totally awesome people. Having a type is a myth. I mean, I'm gonna have to disconnect. What happens? All right. Hopefully, you can still hear me. Yeah, I mean, certain people have like interests. Wink. You know what I mean? But. Oh shit. Let's see. Okay. It really depends. I mean, usually they're like smart and I think beautiful. But I mean, all hair colors. Well, and then you discover when you travel in a lot of other countries, you're the exotic one. And you don't think about that, because you think of them as exotic so a lot of times on tour, all of us, all of the dancers, I mean, we were like super fit, you know what I mean? Like, so we all like look good. So that was that. But we all got attention from people on tour. India, South America, Mexico, I mean, everywhere. So that was interesting. But I've never dated any, like that long distance. I've done long distance too. You know, it's doable for me. Not for everyone. I've had people want to date me just for my location alone. But it's so much more. Having children and marriage is a big deal. Totally. Do you have kids? You married? Just for your location. Yeah, a lot of people miss the point. A lot of people have this image of what marriage should look like, or, you see the movies or you read the novels and you think it's this thing, but then it turns out it's actually a constant negotiation partnership between two people, and it's complicated. And, not everyone can hang, and not everyone is prepped for that, or, has the tools or whatever. So it's interesting that I think the age that people are getting married on average is sort of increasing. Like the younger generation, they're sort of waiting, which is interesting. I mean, my parents got divorced, and they got married kind of young. Who knows what would have happened if they had waited till later? We'll never know. But yeah, I mean, it's a whole other kind of life. People having kids and no marriage is wild. Baby moms and dads. It's becoming more of a thing. It's surprising. To me, I mean, just because I grew up with very traditional household, and that's just how things have been until kind of recently, I feel like. Or it's where it's been socially acceptable or supported a little bit more, not that it fully is at all. But it is pretty wild. The people it's so complicated to have kids from multiple marriages, and it's families are complicated. Some people are not built for the requirements of 100% dedication to another person 24 hours of the day for infinity. It's hard, super hard. Even if things are really, really good and you gel really well, I mean, life is just unpredictable, and riding that out with another person is, a blessing a lot of times. But, I think a lot of people imagine that the other person will compromise in their favor more, and that's fair. But they both have different ideas of what fair is, and maybe people aren't willing to budge on those so much. I wonder how much true empathy is out there, I don't know. It's hard. I wish we had a little helmet that we could put on people to just force perspective on them, But it's invasive, I know. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm an uncle, so my sibling has children. Fair as boundaries, at least to me. Yeah, well, and a lot of people don't understand boundaries either, and what boundaries are actually fair, or what enforcing boundaries appropriately looks like. I mean, it's just, people are complicated. And not everyone has the patience, empathy, maybe even capacity to fully see things from the other person's perspective, It's hard. But boundaries are important, A lot of people get divorced, and there's a big trope of people that oh, I'm stuck with this person, or oh, I have so many regrets. And it's like, you can choose to change it. You know, you just don't feel like you can. It seems like you shouldn't, maybe, but, you know, you got to do what's right for you. It's a cruel world. That's right. And there's a lot of like what we want to be true versus the harsh reality. I mean, look, like, no one wants a fair world more than me. I swear to you. I want everyone to be on the same exact playing field. Everyone gets everything they need. You know, I want everything to be fair. Like, even if I'm in a fight, I want, again, the other person to be rested. I want it to be fair. It's important to me. Fair's not really how the natural world works. Even in like high society, it's not about fair, and I wish it was. You know? But it's important that, you know, you try and be fair as much as you can, I guess. I've definitely been like, you know, if I had no scruples and I was okay with like scamming people or, you know, doing some like deceptive AI or whatever, I could probably make money quickly. But I don't have the heart, you know? So, you know, and I have better uses of my time, frankly. But it's hard. It's hard trying to keep order in a chaotic system. But it can be in a household. I don't know, I would love to experience an honest marriage. It's crazy. I mean, I haven't been married, but I have been in very honest relationships. And it can be a little overwhelming sometimes, you know, because when people are really honest, you know, like, not every thought, and this is something I have to tell myself, not every thought needs to be expressed, you know, not every single one. Like, expressing yourself is important. Not every single thing that pops into your head is appropriate in every, you know, and that's hard. And in a household, it's like, when you're dating, you have separate spaces where you can go be separate and like collect yourself. You have some time off from the pressure or the eyes or expectations or whatever, you know, just having another, you know, living being buzzing in the same, you know, it's different. And a lot of people don't live with their partners before they get married. I mean, it's happening now nowadays, but you don't really know someone until you've lived with them, until you've gone through an emergency with them, like a crisis, or you've fought with someone, right? You don't know what someone's really willing to do when, you know, when things hit the fan. And it takes time to suss out. But it happens faster if everyone's honest. So, I mean, I've gone on like many first dates where I've just been like in the middle. I've been like, you know, look, this has been a good conversation, but I can just tell right away, like, you know, I don't think we're compatible. I think I just want to save us both the time. And, you know, we'll both get the day back. It's been great, but, you know, and I've gotten like shocked responses. I mean, some people have been like, oh, wow, okay, cool. Some have been like, what? Like you can just do that? Yeah. And not to be disrespectful or anything, but just to be like, you know, I already know it's not going to work, so I'm not going to waste either of our time. So it takes a lot of courage, and and it's been hell. That's how it should be. It's honest. It's honest, but it's hard. Even when it's like two people that are like very much on the same level, agree on a, you know, like there are gonna be conflicting, you know, events. Like there are gonna be spots you're going to have to get over, emergencies, whatever. So but it takes a lot of courage and a lot of humility too. Like you have to be very vulnerable and accountable, and you know, that takes practice too. I mean, I have, I think, an easier time doing that than a lot of people, but I've sort of always been that way. You know, I'll just give people the bare honest truth because I just want to skip to, you know, like it's like so much in society, everyone knows we're playing a game. You know, you do the job interview, you got to say like, oh, I want to work here because your company is like my dream, not because like I need a paycheck, right? You both know you just need to pay, but you have to play the game, and so it's like this whole thing. I hate it, and it takes forever, and it's disingenuous, and I don't like it. Better than someone playing you and cheating, lying, and stealing. I have respect for that way more. Well, you get respect, but you don't get all the cool stuff that all these other dudes are stealing. Or people, whatever, whoever. I've been cheated on. Sucks. It's hard, you know? I'm just like, it's not in my DNA to do that sort of thing. So it's hard. Like, I can sort of understand the logic people could come to, like the way they could get there, but it's, you know, I just don't have the time or the mental bandwidth for it. And I didn't when I was young, and now I'm old. Yeah, cheating, lying, and stealing, especially stealing, that's like, if your partner's, everything should be everybody's. You know, and like, I mean, I've had partners where like they have their stuff and it doesn't matter, you know, but like, you should never need to steal anything. Or like, you know, if you're bold enough to steal, you should be bold enough to just like be like, hey, I don't have money. Can I, you know, people are afraid so much of the consequences. They're afraid of like potentially looking bad, but they don't realize that it actually gets you very, very far to just be totally honest. It totally disrupts people. And then people kind of are like, oh, well, shit, okay, well, you know, I'm all right. You know, they'll back off a lot of times. That only works when the other is also giving and not a taker. That's true. That's true. Been there, done that. I understand. But it's hard. It's complicated, yeah. And a lot of times it takes, again, and this is even, like, if you live with them, you find out a lot sooner, but like, for me, it seems like it takes about 6-ish months for everything to start really coming out. You know, like you start off and like you don't like want to pass gas in front of the other person. You got to break through all of that stuff where like you're doing your makeup every time you see them, you know, like you get comfortable, you like start to drop the guards, you know, the mental safeguards of like, oh, I can't say that, you know. You start to learn more. But you have to hit these experiences that test you for these things. Because you can say like, oh, I've never lied to you, but like we've never had any, you know, we've had the same exact existence every single day, so I have no incentive or reason, you know, like I have no opportunity or whatever to lie. Just don't go in front of the fan, hit the fan at the same time. Yeah, so I mean, communication's a skill. We're not taught it. It has to be learned, and a lot of people don't get practice before they're thrown into the real world. And so a lot of people are operating with like their teenage, high school software, you know? Like, they're still figuring stuff out. We all are. I mean, everyone's still figuring their stuff out. I'm still figuring myself out, you know? It's a process. Okay, yeah. It's hard. And it's hard to be discerning and rob yourself of, you know, and you watch other people that have things, but you also don't see the prices that they're paying too. I feel like a lot of people are either settling or in toxic situations because they believe they need to, they have to. It's like scarcity mindset or whatever. Or, it's like the fear of the unknown is bigger. Well, I know, when my husband's gonna, cheat on me. So it's like, well, at least that's predictable, like it feels like a form of control, but it's not how it works. And you can't control people. You can't make people do stuff. They got to want to do it. And that's with everything. You can't force people to do the diet. They have to want it, usually because the results are so desirable that it overpowers the discomfort, or they are so uncomfortable and they hate it so much that the price of the diet is far inferior to feeling like shit every single day. You have to go through that. And in a relationship, it's like, oh, if blank happened, I would do this. It's so easy to say until it's like right in front of you, and it's like, okay, you have life path A and life path B. Pick one right now. When you're faced with the actual consequences, it's different. And I've been guilty of that too, like where I definitely have bitten off more than I could chew because I thought it was like, oh, I think it's like this, and it's like, oh my God, like this is so much more complex than I can handle. So I've been there. It's hard, but it takes time, and especially if you don't force that stuff right away, if you don't do the honest stuff, if you don't push early. I mean, I don't know, fortunate's the right word, but like in some relationships, I've hit a lot of these major tests very early. And so once you know these things, then it's easier to project out. But sometimes you gotta wait 6 months, and it's like, but then you plan a whole life with this person, you move in, or you combine you put your clothes in the closet, and then it's like, now separating is like this whole enormous thing, Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people stay in situations that they they know aren't right or aren't good for them or aren't healthy because they're like, well, I don't know what'll happen. It might be hard, like it would really suck. It would be like super, I mean, as a man, I don't have to really worry about like physical danger or anything like that. It's, it's definitely different for like women, but it's like you can choose sometimes you can choose to be uncomfortable for a very short amount of time and then have the potential something, or you can be somewhat uncomfortable for an extremely long time. And maybe that's tolerable, and it's the frog in the stew pot. But it's hard. It is a lot easier being single. The heart is precious. It needs to be protected at all costs. I wish I learned that sooner. That's the other thing too, is like, some of the most vulnerable open hearts, the most sensitive, that put it out there, like, please, like they get pierced, and it's like they feel it so much more, and then it's like, okay, I gotta put it out again, and you gotta keep doing it over and over, and it's hard. Again, it's like, once you get there, you recognize that you've heard good advice before of like, oh, you should do this, that, or the other, but it does not click, and you don't remember it, you don't hear it until it happens to you, and then it's like, oh, okay, I can't handle this, so. But, and a lot of that too is like, a lot of people don't want to talk, they don't want to go to therapy, they don't want to be super honest and then like change, or stretch themselves because it's uncomfortable. But that's where, like, that's the secret hack. It's the superpower. Is if you can condition yourself to the point where being uncomfortable is not great, but you can muscle through it, you can do anything. Anything. Okay? It's that discomfort that keeps 99% of people from starting doing stuff. And again, the beginning is the hardest part of everything. Right? When you're the least fit, you're the least knowledgeable, you know, you're the biggest baby, whatever. Like, you got to iterate, and, you know, it takes stretching yourself. The anticipation is so much worse. I've been hit in the face. I've been kicked in the head. I've been, like, I've been threatened with weapons. I've been, you know, like, all sorts of stuff. And it's like, after the fact, it's always less crazy than you thought it was going to be before, right? Experience is the teacher. Gosh, and I worry about younger generations coming up that spending more time online, which I guess we are both doing, all four of us at this point, we're doing right now. But, you know, they spend so much time online that they don't accumulate these like pressure, unpredictable experiences, and so they're behind. And it's harder when you're older and your brain's less plastic, and, you know, you've had years of all the drinking that we were talking about earlier, you know, it's just so much harder later, you know. So, but you can't. I've tried. I've been a mentor to so many teens, kids, young adults, older adults. It's like, it's so hard to get people to listen to experience and, like, learn from hearing about it beforehand. But maybe I'm just old. I think you're awesome and really interesting. Would love to see you again on live and maybe training videos too. It's really late here. Yeah, I need to pop off imminently here to make dinner. It is also late where I'm at. You're very interesting yourself. It's been great chatting. You know, I've enjoyed hanging out. I wasn't sure, you know, if live was a good idea, but, you know, it's definitely something that I'm going to do more in the future, at least like once a week, if not more. Maybe I'll do like hanging out sometimes, and then some other times I'll do like training. If I do that, I'll probably put a post up in the community, and then I'll also put like a schedule if I end up doing like a organized thing up on like the main channel page or something like that. But yeah, please, if you need to go, do not feel pressured to stay. I'll be here later. You know, we can't do everything in one day, unfortunately. I've tried. Oh, thanks for chatting. I'm sure I'll see you around. Man, I titled the thing Nunchucks, but that was only the first like 20-some minutes. We've been going for a while. Well, if anyone else here wants to see something, you gotta speak up. But Sensei Kyle's gotta get some grub soon. You know, I do eat sometimes. Yeah. Just want to look, see if if you can see all the marks on Bob here. The light hits it right. Okay, let's see what else we got. Yeah. Yep, some of those are chucks, some of those are the wall. Some of those are dirty feet. I've done a lot of cracking this guy in the face. Let's see, can you see it? I don't know. Yeah, a little bit. He's got some scars. But we take care of Bob here. He gets a little bad every once in a while. Keep the things from my feet off of him for too long. 219 minutes. Jesus Christ, how long is that? It's a long ass time. It is common sensei experience, I guess, to eventually start talking about life and everything else. In fact, that's when you tend to get a lot of the best secrets, like not like technical, although you can get some technical secrets like, after, but usually after, not always classes, but like workshops, belt tests, performances, events. A lot of times all of the senseis will go out to eat and maybe drink, usually like eat for sure, afterward. And so you go there and you eat for like an hour and you just like hang out and talk, and then they start getting into the deep stuff, kind of like we were talking about, like deep relationship, emotional stuff. Like you learn some crazy things about some of these old timers. I had this sensei, it was a tournament and like a promotion ceremony. And it took all day, and then afterward we went to this big buffet, which I'm not a huge fan of anymore. I think there's some maybe safety concerns, but we go to this buffet and we start talking, and he just starts going off on like his time overseas. He grew up overseas, and he like, trying to cross borders through the jungle and like all this crazy shit that no one had ever heard of. But you gotta like wait and get it out of him. You gotta get all the like huff and puff and the starch out of the geese, And sometimes you gotta get a couple drinks in them, and they'll start telling you the real stuff. And they'll usually tell you the drama, because there is so much political bullshit in most karate communities. I mean, probably most communities, so it's like no different from anything else. But, I mean, the interpersonal stuff that you learn about these people is just, it's wild. And, you see this person you have like all this respect for, and then they'll like say something crazy out of pocket. Seems your channel was gone for a while. Great to see you back, if the case. Wing Chun Philosopher, that is a name I recognize. It's good to see you. Yes, it was gone for a while. I took a break. I had some physical stuff that happened. I was very busy in my personal life, so I just didn't really have room for YouTube. But I'm glad to be back, and didn't really consider doing lives, but it really opens up opportunities for, hanging out for sure, but also, people have asked for like training videos and, classes and stuff. So definitely gonna look into all of that imminently here. I have more plans than I have time left on the planet. So definitely going to ramp things up. I've gotten things to a place where, you know, I can be pretty consistent. So glad to be back. You know, hopefully get to interact with more people, and you know, I learned a lot about some some viewers today. They learned a lot about me, but yeah, I've got a number of things in the works in terms of just content, but you know, definitely have some things coming specifically for people in training. I mean, that's I think what most people are interested in. You know, I would love to do Wing Chun personally. The I mean, look, I'm from karate, so like I get it, but like Wing Chun gets a lot of like bad rap for the like low impact kind of, you know, like no overhand. But the trapping principles are totally slept on. Totally. Like I don't necessarily buy that you could do like 8 in a row, but the the principle of pulling someone's guard out of the way, moving their hands, controlling like this is a concept that I got familiar with in the dance world in contact improvisation, right? You're like leaning on people and you're like sharing weight and like how you push and move things around. Like there's a lot of legitimate stuff there. So I would love, there's just not a lot of open classes in my area where I could train it because A, it's low impact, which would be great for, I've got some back issues. But, you know, a lot of interesting, I mean, the vertical fist is like, a lot of old school karate is like, they knew that was the way. When I fight, I throw like maybe a little here, but it's pretty vertical. It's the way, you know? So, Wing Chun's dope. I think I would love to see them do like a karate combat version for Wing Chun where like they make it more combat style, you know, where like you can kick people in the legs and stuff. It would just be interesting. And I think we would start to see some like interesting techniques that would start to appear, you know, because no one knew about calf kicks until they started doing it in the UFC. And then everybody had calf kicks, you know. So, but yeah, thanks for coming back. I appreciate it, you know. I'm glad people are still, you know, interested in looking at this. Again, I usually go full shiny for the reflective qualities, but, you know, this is how I live. So I'm going to give you guys a little more inside look. I mean, my training is very different now. I'm older, heavily injured, you know, sort of a patchwork individual in a way, but, you know, I can't stay away. So I'm gonna have more fun and I'm gonna do more stuff, you know. I can't necessarily do the backflips or everything that people were requesting earlier. Oh, yes. Yes, that's right. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Well, it's great to meet you or talk to you. That's crazy. What a small world, you know? And like most people, I'll throw out the name Santa Clarita and, you know, they don't know what I'm talking about at all. But man, oh, it's beautiful. I haven't been back in a million years, so. Ah, you did. I just started a channel with my Sifu this last August. Interesting. That's cool. I will have to take a look. Philosophy. can actually write that. I know how to spell it, but oops. You'll definitely be getting a sub from me, but I'll also be watching for the stuff that comes out. What sort of content are you putting up? Is it like teaching or demonstrations, or what are we talking? I don't know if I can look. I think it might break the live. I mean, I'll be done in a few minutes here, and I'll definitely check it out. But concept training, nice. I mean, that's my favorite kind of stuff. Is like the high level, you know. I mean, and you get the concept stuff through heavy experience, you know. So it's always fun to talk shop with people at that level where you can really talk theory, you know. Sifu is 75, I'm 63. Hey, 75 is the new, I don't know, whatever. But if you guys are training, then age is less of an indicator of stuff, you know. So good for you. I mean, good for you both for continuing to train that late, you know. I definitely had some moments where I considered like, should I continue the training? Should I do more channel stuff? I don't know, you know, but it was just in my heart and I couldn't put it down. So he's a 50-year, he's a 50-plus year Wing Chun man. I'm a long-time hobbyist. 50 years is a long time. I mean, usually that's like in the legit karate world, you know, which is not all of it. Usually 50 years is when you start to get like the super high level belts, like, or like the grand, I mean, there's only like one grandmaster, but that's usually when it starts to happen. He has evolved Wing Chun to a new thinking level. That's what I like to hear. I mean, that's my whole karate journey has been adapting it to be an evolved form, because that's what the martial arts were originally about. It was about getting an advantage over your opponent, taking the most efficient ways of combat, you know, so like you learn things over time. Things, you know, and the old masters, if they were alive today, they would say like, yeah, you should do that crazy, effective, awesome thing. Like you should be thinking, you know, I don't honestly believe that the founders of any of these, or the true practitioners, really want it to be limited to like, no, it has to be only this. It's like the real ones, you got to think beyond. I mean, the curriculum is fine. You need the curriculum. You need to learn the rules so that you can understand how to bend and or break them when it's appropriate, which I learned the rules of karate. I broke them in sparring and I became like untouchable, you know, because they don't want to adapt. And, you know, he won't call himself a master, but is the only master type I've ever personally trained with. I've had 14 different instructors over my life, from a few months to 5 to 6 years. That is awesome. That is how I wish people had their martial arts journey. Because, again, well, maybe you weren't here earlier. You can't, I mean, you know this, you can't get all information from one person. You need the different perspectives to get like the full picture. And then you start to see the links. It's like, oh, like this is exactly like this, it's exactly like this. And then you already know how to manipulate those principles. And so it's like, that's mastery, is like taking it to the next level, linking it to other things, you know, going beyond like, oh no, it's like, it has to be fully turned out versus, you know, this angle, that means you're bad. It's like, you're on the wrong wavelength, man. And true masters, it's not a like a level that you've achieved. It's like a trajectory, you know, like it's a certain level of experience, but like true masters, again, most would say, no, 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 I'm not a master. I still have much more. I'm not done thinking about it. No one, like, there's no, I don't have enough time in one lifetime to develop all of the ideas to their fullest extent, their fullest potential. I mean, no one can, you know? So, but that is the way to do it, of like, and especially instead of like, some people will go to Thailand for a month and do like a little bit of Muay Thai, you know, but you need the big chunks of time with these people to like really fully absorb everything they have to offer. And then you can be like, okay, some of this is redundant with what I already know. Some of this is new and I'm going to take it with me. Some of it is, I don't really agree with it, and you leave it. And you can stay within the principles of Wing Chun and expand it, you know, like, I get that, like, you know, we have an image or a style to maintain, but it's like, everyone is so hung up on the label of like, no, this is X brand Wing Chun, this is X style, and that forbids me from, you know, I can't look over there because that would make me less than 100% of this thing. You know, I think that's the right way to do it. Some people are wired another way. Some people are purists. They do the one thing. But 14, I have not had well, I don't know how many instructors I've had. I don't know. But it's definitely the way to do it. I mean, and then at the end of that, I mean, I'm sure you understand this, but it's like, at the end of that, you learn it's all kind of the same thing, you know? It's like, we all want to make it so different, but it's like, it's grabbing, it's punching, it's thrusting, it's, you know, leverage, it's body weight, body mechanics. It's like, it's all the same thing. Well, I appreciate that you've remained subscribed. I've lost a few, you know, in my absence, which is totally fair, and I expect, you know, some like bots or whatever. But I'm gonna remember the OGs for sure, and you know, it's nice to, while I have the time, especially now, to like talk with people like that have that kind of experience. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that you could show me that would blow my mind, and I'd be like, oh my God, I've been like searching for this, you know, but everyone's so limited by like, no, I'm Shotokan, I'm not allowed, you know, they get it in their heads so much. But I appreciate you stopping by, you know, hopefully we can talk more, and I'm gonna be doing training, whether that's, it's gonna be, there's gonna be some physical conditioning stuff, in terms of calisthenics, mobility, flexibility, sort of like, you know, longevity work for the joints, because like that's been huge for me, and I think most people sleep on it. Plus martial arts training, not only like sort of regular class style, but you know, I want to talk advanced concepts. I want to do, you know, training videos. I mean, eventually want to do classes where I get on like Zoom calls with people, because, you know, that is the level that is like the top tier, where you learn the most. Because I've got a sensei title, but it's like, you know, there are so many people there are people of low ranks in other arts that have things that I would just be fascinated by. And, you know, so I totally, I mean, I've trained in a million things too, so. Your athletic ability would lay me out. Just a regular guy. Sifu would definitely impress you, but I think we'd get along okay. I think so, you know, and I think, I mean, my YouTube metrics are very clear. Like, I do not appeal to like the teenage, young audience, you know, because I think it takes experience to see experience, and you know, it's like, oh man, like Wing Chun philosopher, like this person has lived, you know what I mean? Like they've seen some things. So it's different. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the live, where it's like, you wish you could just take that and put it in it, like, see, do you see? I never achieved an actual black belt. I think you've mentioned that before, but you know, that doesn't really mean anything. I mean, I have 3 black belts. It doesn't make me 3x anything, you know. It's just that I got certified under 3 different curriculums. And, you know, I don't really buy into the belts. I wear the belt because it's mine, and, you know, I train in my sort of, this is my karate. My karate can involve things from, you know, jujitsu or whatever. I've decided that that's fine. But, you know, who knows? Maybe one day I got a dojo, we get you out there, train a little bit. I mean, black belt is like, it depends, right? If you get it from a McDojo, you can buy a black belt, but once you've earned it, and I feel like if you have that kind of experience, you likely are at a black belt level. Like, I'm pretty certain that you could probably just go into random styles, and once you learn the like specific way, it's like, oh no, our forms go like this way, this way, this way. You could just, you know, get it pretty quickly. Or you'd be the equivalent of the black belt, but they would like gate you for a while. So, I mean, if it's important to you, that's one thing. But if it's not, who cares, you know? If you don't need the belt, then what does it matter? Because you rarely wear it outside of the dojo or wherever you train. I'm a recently retired 40-year repossession investigation agent working the greater LA area and have a black belt in de-escalation. And that's the most valuable skill of them all. It's just, but repossession investigation agent. So you've seen some crazy things, I know. In 40 years, and LA, I mean, that's big enough. I grew up in the LA area, so I'm very familiar. I mean, it's a big area, but it's crazy. So I can't imagine. Never shot or beaten down. I mean, not being attacked and avoiding conflict is the greatest survival strategy in the history of the earth, right? Like, the people the animals that escaped the lion or the fish that got away from the shark, they lived. And it's like, they didn't need to be able to kick the shit out of anybody. They just, you know, they just weren't there. And that's great, but it's not glamorous, you know? They don't make movies about, you know, Liam Neeson where he's like, well, you know, how about we just get together, we meet, I'll order some food, we'll get it catered, you know. This is what I love about YouTube and everything else. It's like, we have this connection of the martial arts, and even between styles and everything like that. I think we're both maybe sort of like freestyle sort of martial artists. But, you know, that connection is like, it's wild. I mean, God. The stories that you have. I mean, you could, if you haven't, you could probably make a channel just talking about all the crazy stuff you saw doing that job. I mean, look at how popular, you know, Storage Wars and all that stuff is. I am impressed, though, that no one tried to start anything with you in LA over 40 years. It is wild, you know, and it's like, and it's weird, especially because the younger people growing up, that's all they've known, and we have like seen the before and the after, and how the like, I'll eventually start placing videos on verbal self-defense. Yeah, it's, look, it's super applicable, and especially for people that do not have the physical capability to fight for whatever reason, you know, they will have to use those tools, and they're the most likely to succeed anyway. You know, if I get into a fight, there's a good chance that like I get into legal trouble or I get hurt or whatever. So I think that's huge. And it's a good time for it, you know, like the time for like UFC and like everyone getting into jiu-jitsu and martial arts, that was sort of like the last kind of decade, I feel like. But now like people are starting to get, oh, excuse me, they're starting to get wise to, you know, how the world actually works, and, you know, sometimes talking to another person and like connecting to them instead of like bashing them, you know, might be more successful. So that's a great idea. And if you do make another channel, definitely let me know, so I can check that out, because that is huge. I mean, you know, I get to do like the flashy stuff, you know. Again, you missed this from earlier, but you know, we do the nunchuck stuff, and it's like, that is cool, and it draws attention, but, you know, it's hard to sell, like, why don't you talk someone down off the edge, you know? So, but it's needed. So there's a need for it, and, you know, I think, especially with your experience, the number of people you've just even seen. I mean, think about how like most people don't meet a ton of people in their life. A lot of people don't leave their hometown, you know, they don't have 14 different friends, let alone, you know, sifus. So that's very valuable. And, you know, as much as like it seems ineffective to like to try and push experience on people that don't have it, you know, I feel like it's important we still try, you know. I've had police and sheriff out on scenes more than several hundred times. Even a sheriff helicopter. Damn. Could be some good stories. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a shame you know, you didn't have like a body cam or something on it at the time, but oh yeah, that would kill. Are you kidding? Those are great stories. I mean, and that's fascinating, and that's like real life stuff. That's like real people, you know. So it's not to show cops, you know, but it'd be fascinating stuff. I mean, you get to see a world that most people don't. So I mean, people are curious. I think you should do it. Man. Well, my philosopher friend, it's getting pretty late here. So I'm glad you could join, and I'm awesome. You know, I'm so grateful that we could reconnect, and, you know, man, small world. But yeah, I'll be going live more often. I'll, you know, definitely be following what you and your Sifu are up to. And, yeah, let's just keep learning, you know? Stories are, that's like all of human civilization and culture. It's stories, you know? Do my own reality show. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Put on a little wig, you know, like I have some wigs. It's especially if, you know, it's just sort of like half-assed. It can be pretty funny. So I encourage you, try it out, you know. I think it would kill. Anyway, it's been great having you with me. Hope to see you again. And yeah, I'll be following. I'll be watching. Os. It's my first live. I don't know how to stop. You're the actor I need. Hey, let me know. I got a green screen. I got wigs. You know, I'm a performer. So, seriously, let me know. You need some shots. I can get some stuff. Send you some footage. Maybe that's my breakout role. All right, well, it's been awesome. I appreciate you stopping by. I got to hear more of your stories, one way or the other. So I'll get them out of you. All right, have a good night.